What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Omar BYT. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the brand new show we got for you guys. New show called True Ballers FC, guys. This is the brand new show I'm going to be doing every single weekend, guys. I got a panel of guests today. We're going to have some other people joining our show today, guys. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, turn on the notifications. And I do have some few guests over here, guys. Let's first of all start with one of my closest people in the YouTube scene. Shout outs to Mike's, man. How is it going, Mike's?
Yeah, man. Obviously, I think everyone knows how it's going for me, but what team they see I'm supporting. But yeah, overall, man, all good, man. Thank you for having me on, man. It's been a long time overdue, man. It's good to be on the channel.
Of course, of course, of course, of course. And we got Josh in the building. Big up to Josh, man.
Big up Omar, man. Thank you so much for having me. Listen, big up Max as well, man. I mean, I think both of us are in similar positions today with our results, man. It's absolutely fuming today with the Arsenal side of things. I'm sure we'll get all into it. But nah, thanks some of your man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, big up, big up, big up, big up, man. Listen, man. Obviously, it's not been a good day for London teams, unfortunately. Some teams finally got their first losses of the season. Some teams are getting used to the losses this season so far. Some people are calling out their managers. Like, what's new? Like, too many stuff been happening to your clubs recently. Well, listen, guys, we're gonna get into it, man. Because listen, this weekend has been a crazy weekend with the amount of results we've seen this morning. Like, it started out obviously with my guy to my right. Obviously, you guys started the weekend away to Tottenham. So yeah, Tottenham 4, West Ham 1. Mike's, you got the stage.
Yeah,
What happened,
obviously,
What happened, bro?
West Ham happened. Like, this is the problem. Yeah, I always get, even with me, I get called negative when I don't know what people expect from me when it comes to being negative as a West Ham fan. Like, I know what to expect. I know when to get excited and when to not get excited. I didn't actually have any expectation before the season, and it's even falling below my non-expectation. That's the thing I'm really worried about. It's a thing where, as a West Ham fan, like, obviously you don't get the big derbies, so you don't get to face Millwall every season because of how bad they are. They're in the Championship, so you look forward to the Chelseas and Tottenhams, especially because historically those are the games you get up for. We've lost to Chelsea at home 3-0, and we've lost to Tottenham away 4-1. Two games that we actually won last season under a manager that I was complaining about last season. So when you look at that, it's even worse. And the problem is obviously because it's new, everyone's like, give the manager time and all that. And I was all with that if I can see an identity. If you can see something to get behind, you're going to let that thing progress. It's going to develop, and then it might come into fruition where you're challenging for top honors, or you're challenging for Europe, you're challenging for cups. But I'm not seeing an identity, and I'm going to repeat myself on multiple times that on what I've said on multiple channels before. When a manager comes in, you know what they're trying to do, if they're good enough. Where I could use Postecoglou as an example for Tottenham. I could also use Unai Emery as an example for Villa. I could use Maresca as an example for Chelsea. The Maresca one's probably the best one because he's been there around the same time as Lopetegui has for West Ham. Yeah, people could say it's a better squad, but they had to change over a whole new squad with players that he's not managed before apart from Dewsbury Hall. And you can see an identity with Lopetegui. Cool. Only he's managed Max Kilman before. Everyone else he hasn't managed before, but can he get the players together? No, he can't. And the thing is, it's not like he's got an untalented squad. You've got Paquetá, Kudus, Bowen, a trio that you should be getting to play together. I've said before, play Paquetá deeper, play Kudus in the middle, play Bowen on the right, get Somerville on the left. It's as simple as that. That's the only way you're going to get the best out of all four of them and allow them to all be creative and flow together. Now, watching the game today, the good individuals tried their hardest. They tried their hardest. Like, all the players that you know that are good enough played well in spite of the manager. But the problem is, as a manager, you need the structure to make these players play consistent over 90 minutes. Like, Wan-Bissaka tried his hardest. Kudus tried his hardest. Bowen tried his hardest. Kilman and Tadibo, despite the fact that we conceded 4 goals, they were left isolated half the time. They were left isolated. There was so much space. So the problem is that we've seen this all season, and you get called out for calling the manager out. But if every player that you rate highly is performing under their level, whose fault is it? It's the manager. It's the manager's fault, and that's what we saw today. That's what we've been
Yeah.
seeing every game, and this is only going to keep going on and on.
Now I hear it. I completely hear it, and I'm gonna be very, 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 very frank with you. Right? We spoke about this yesterday on Honest Rivals, where I said that even though you guys have a good record against Tottenham,
Yeah.
the biggest problem I see in your team is that your manager has a good team, but it's the manager that is the problem. This manager doesn't know how to build this team. The fact that he doesn't know how to put kudos in the right areas. The fact that he keeps persistent playing Guido Rodriguez and Suchek as the midfield, right? The fact that Carlos Soler is not playing. The fact that Somerville is not getting in the team. Like, dude, at the end of the day, I will always keep saying it, which is that West Ham as a squad is good enough. It is good enough. And every single time we go back to the same thing, which is what? The manager. You guys don't have a good manager, because if you had a good manager, you guys would be challenging for Europe. And the problem is this, right? At the end of the day, what I saw today genuinely did not shock me, because I sat there and I looked at the game and I said, everything I'm predicting is actually happening. I predicted that West Ham, if they went forward, would actually get a goal, because I know defensively, Postecoglou doesn't. His whole thing is going forward. Like, defensively, they can be get at, and you saw that they got at today, and they conceded a goal. But guess what? Because of how poor you guys are going forward, I'm sorry, to go defensively, despite all the defenders that you have, right? And the fact that Tottenham, we've seen this season that their weakness is not defensively, is going forward. That is where their biggest strength is. I was like, bro, we could literally see a beatdown. I predicted 3-1. I was being nice. I was being generous. Like, that second half started. You guys considered what? Three goals in like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Absolutely just.
That's literally a trend, bro, as well. That's a trend as well, because think about it. The Villa game, the first game of the season, we conceded early from a corner. The Chelsea game, we conceded early in the first half. We came back in the second half, we were already 2-0 down, and we conceded a third goal straight away. It's happened in this Tottenham game. It's happened in the Brentford game, we conceded straight away. Against Fulham, we didn't concede straight away, but we left the gap so open. Like, we pretty much left Smith Rowe for dead, and then we conceded like that. Like, it's been a trend, and it's like, it's literally like last season for me. Like, where we were doing this last season, where we would play awful, and then coming into the second half, we would play even worse and concede early. I don't know what these managers say at half time, because it's not like, it might not be a manager problem, because it's a different squad. It's just another manager not getting the best out of another West Ham squad. It's as simple as that. There's no correlation between the previous manager and the current manager, because it's a different squad now. Like, but that's what I don't get.
And it really doesn't make any sense, does it? Now listen, I wanna hear from you guys. Josh, did you see the game today?
Yeah, I watched a bit of it, and listen, I'm with you guys. It's with West Ham. It's a manager, bro. I knew it when they first pointed it personally, because what he did at Wolves, man. Like, the guy was already in the Premier League, already at Wolves, and he already failed. So why appoint him? It's like, yeah, it didn't make sense there. Am I right in saying, Omar, that he was in La Liga?
Bro, he was at Sevilla. He won the Europa League in his first season, and then literally that's it. He barely did anything the second season. I think he finished mid-table, and then the third season he was so poor he got sacked in the beginning of the season, and that's how he got the job to basically to Wolves.
To Wolves, yeah. And so like, yeah, it's like this guy already failed at Wolves, man. I'm like, why appoint it? Obviously, and even looking before the season, I look at West Ham. I was like, you know what, the transfer window and what they're doing. I was like, some of the players I looked at, like, you know, these are good signings here. You know, and I agree with both what you're saying. And West Ham have got a good squad. You're adding the signings you added on to the squad you already got, like the quality of Kudus there, quality of Bowen there. You know, you added in Fulkrug, who we know had an excellent Euros, looked really good with Dortmund. You know, you had a very good transfer window, and I was thinking, you know what, if West Ham get their act together today, this season, then they're gonna have a really good season. But it just comes down to me, to the manager. How are you performing like that in, this big game in a London derby against them as well? It's obviously a massive game. It's an embarrassment. What I saw today from West Ham. But as Omar said, like, I'm not surprised really, because if we're being real with it, this manager has already failed, not with one club in Wolves, but now he's doing it again with West Ham.
Yeah.
And even with Moyes, as Mike's rightly said, like last season, you guys won this fixture, right?
Yeah, you
against
guys
Tottenham.
won it, I think 3-2 at the Tottenham Stadium and
2-1.
drew.
Yeah, 2-1.
2-1, and then you guys drew in the London Stadium, right?
Yeah. Drew 1-1 at home.
So yeah, you basically didn't lose against them. Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's mad. Like, listen, as I said, the players have got. I mean, Kudus, absolute baller, by the way. Bowen. Obviously some of the new signings in there as well. I was really hoping, I was thinking West Ham was going to have a good season this season, but that'll only change for me if the manager, to be honest. I mean, you got to look at the manager at the end of the day. He's the main guy. He's the main guy. He's a guy who, sets them out, and just thought that he started play there. And as Mike's rightly said, seems to be no identity, with West Ham at the moment. And, they're going to struggle if this is going to stay like this, of course. It's not been a great start to the season whatsoever. So, yeah, I think you got all right to put on the manager personally, bro. And of course, players like losing like that is embarrassing anyway, especially Tottenham. But I think overall, it's Lopetegui guy, man. Yeah, don't rate him whatsoever. I don't think he's the right man for West Ham.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Like, I've already said my opinion on the manager. Yeah, big up to Prime, man. Finally, actually made it to the show, man. Welcome to the show, Prime. The Prime, you there? Yeah.
Oh, my mic's on. Yeah, my mic. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Apologies,
Yeah.
I'm late.
No, you're good. You're not even that late, to be fair. You made it literally relatively on time. But yeah, big up to you, Prime, for making it. But listen, man, what did you think of the West Ham game? Because I'm sure you were watching it today. West Ham Tottenham.
Yeah, I've seen the highlights. And everything that Mike just said, I said this about West Ham back in the summer when people were making their preseason predictions and they were talking about West Ham breaking top 4, breaking top 6. I knew they would struggle at the first half of the season. Not just bringing in a lot of new players, but because I don't rate Lopetegui that highly. He's done good things in the past, yes, but in 2024, signing all these technical players and then you're signing a manager that is mainly defensive doesn't really make sense to me. It's kind of no difference from David Moyes, essentially. I don't know. I think for West Ham to get better and kick on, Lopetegui will eventually have to get sacked. I think he'll get sacked by maybe January, February, and then you bring in a new manager, and that's when you really start to bounce. But again, do you trust your board to hire the right guy? Because I don't know what would have told them to hire Lopetegui.
So this is the thing. Obviously, it was said by the inside sources that it was the director of football that hired him. But my problem is, I can only really assure that if I know who the next manager is. For example, even if it is a good manager that's on a free, for example, if we're not going out to pay compensation for someone, I don't know who we could pay compensation for. I don't know who would want to come to us. I have no clue. But let's say the intention is there to go and pay compensation for someone that's a bit more ambitious, someone that makes a lot more sense to the identity of the squad. Then I'll know who's still hiring a manager. Then I'll know if it's still the owner doing his normal stuff. But for a long time, the owner has been stepping away from footballing decisions. I'd like to think it's the director of football. So that would be my only criticism of the director of football, Tim Steidten, because he brought in all these transfers. I know people will compare it to the 18-19 season where under Pellegrini we did all this good transfer.
That's what I said.
But for me, that transfer, I was criticising that at the time as well. I remember the talk was the same of West Ham breaking into Europe, because I remember our fans even doing that, and I was like, no, we're not getting into Europe. And the thing is, I said the same this season, but I actually rate this squad way higher than that previous squad with Felipe Anderson and all them players, because half of them players I didn't rate at the time, and half of them ended up being flops anyway. With these players now, it's a higher level of even more technical players. And the thing is, we have all the players that played like decent football. It's just having the right manager. It's just quite as simple as that. And that's what's even more annoying when you feel like you're nearly getting something, and it's just that one thing that's bringing it all down. But that's why I don't get excited. I predicted to finish 10th. All I asked for, can you get your identity across? That's all I asked for this season. And then next season, I demand Europe. That's all I
think
said.
there are managers out there. I mean, maybe it depends on like what you're willing to spend to buy out a contract. But there's Sebastian Hoynes. I think he's at Stuttgart. He's doing quite well. I really rate Michael Carrick. This is a hot take, but I think Carrick is on par with the likes of Xavi Alonso and Thiago Motta and Cesc and Arteta. I think he is in the bracket of like a these young up and coming, great managers. I really rate Michael Carrick. I think Man United missed a trick not getting him in the summer. I think West Ham should try and snap him up because he's like Chelsea played Middlesbrough last year in the semi-final. The guy's tactically spot on. He's a brilliant manager. But there are guys out there you could try. There's McKenna at Ipswich as well. With all due respect to those two clubs I just mentioned, West Ham is a bigger club. There's no reason why they wouldn't want to step up and go there and prove themselves. Especially now, this whole talk of Tuchel going to England, not enough English coaches. There is quality. Carrick and McKenna are two talented young English managers. West Ham could give one of them the chance to show.
And you know what? I when you look at that also, Mike, so just to add on to what Prime is saying, something like that would kind of show the fans if you got a manager like Carrick. It would kind of give the fans of that sense of, well, clearly there's something they must have seen. It's kind of like when Chelsea hired Maresca, right? Because when Maresca was at Leicester City, he did well. But many people were looking at it and said, Maresca, I know he did well in the championship, but how will he do in the league? Now, clearly, hiring Maresca, it was a lot deeper because obviously they did do their history, they did check, his strengths and basically how they're building the team and the right manager to basically help build this team. And you've seen it so far for Chelsea, it's actually been working. You understand what I'm saying, right? And this is the problem that they had previously from Pochettino, where Pochettino was a big name, but Pochettino wasn't exactly blending with what they were trying to basically build at Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
But under Maresca, we're seeing
managers didn't mesh with the players we were signing with our squad. But with Maresca now, he's the part of the reason why he's brought in is because his style of play suits the players that we have. And I think for West Ham, you brought in a lot of like technically sound players, and you already had the likes of Kudus and Bequeta already at the club. But you're bringing in a manager that's not going to get the best out of the players that you have. It doesn't make sense. So that's why I was asking, do you trust your board to bring in another guy that will suit your players, or will it be another Lopetegui, David Moyes type?
Yeah, so like just going off the original point of the managers you mentioned, it was funny. I think the Stuttgart manager was the manager that the director of football actually wanted to bring in, but he literally signed a new contract as we wanted him. So I think that was the problem at the time with Carrick. I think Carrick's a really good coach as well, because I watched the Championship and I even watched the game against Aston Villa in the FA Cup, and they actually should have won that game. But what's it called? My only problem is if Carrick comes in and he needs a lot of time, and let's say he also fails to get an identity across, like hypothetically, and he would need to go, for example. My problem is, would the fans use the bias of the fact because he used to play for the club as a player, that he knows the club and all this, and they'll get the defender maybe a bit too much just because he's young and English and used to play for the club. I don't want all of that nonsense and all of that, noise coming out. Like that's why
I hear that. With it. I hear that completely, Mike. I really do. And I would say this, right? I think that when it comes to Michael Carrick, yes, he is a former West Ham player, and yes, maybe that would give, that would kind of bring a little bit of a good light as far as the fans is concerned, because they would want him to do well at the club. And but one thing I will say about Carrick is, at least with Michael Carrick, we're seeing a manager who is showing potential outside of the Premier League. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So giving him a chance maybe even if it doesn't work, people might look at it and say, "Well, listen, it was a smart idea." You understand what I'm saying? Because he needed to make that jump eventually, right? And
Yeah.
And
I
even if he
do,
needs a bit of time,
yeah.
like I know you said the negatives of like people backing him because he's a legend, but that could also work in his favor because he might need a bit of time to adjust for one, and two, there are also players in your squad that aren't good enough. Like Fulkrug, he's injury prone, and then your only backup to him is Antonio. That's not a really good uh, matchup. That could have West Ham struggle in certain games. So
Yeah.
while he's still trying to build the squad, people having that like legendary tag on him or former player of the club tag on him, at least for a little while, might actually help keep the fan pressure off his back. So that could also be
Yeah.
a good thing.
Yeah, I hear that. I think for like I do like Michael Carrick as a coach. It's just I'm afraid of all of that nonsense, all of that noise of like, oh, get behind him because he was a former player. He knows the club. Like we had that with Slaven. Like Slaven Bilic wasn't a good
Oh
coach, but
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah,
one of the
yeah,
best
yeah.
coaches. But Slaven Bilic used to play for us, and I remember when without Pyatt, the guy had no game plan. So when I wanted him out at the time, they were like, but he knows the club, he gets here, he's like all of this. And I'm like, I like Carrick as a coach. I think he could easily make the step up to the Premier League easily. And also, they don't spend much at Middlesbrough. He's getting the best out of what he has. So I
Yeah.
think he's doing well in that sense as well. And when they had all the loan players like Chuba Akpom, Isaiah Jones, he's still there. But when they had, I forgot what, Aaron Ramsey, Jacob Ramsey's brother, at
Oh
the
yeah,
time
yeah,
as well,
yeah.
they were cooking at the time. But when they all went out on loan, he was getting criticised, but he's getting the best out of the players that he has. I think he'd do well with these players because I think someone like Kudus, someone like Bowen, someone like Paquetá would even get behind someone like a young manager, for example. We have characters that like they don't throw their toys at the Prem either. They get behind any sort of manager that come in, they buy into ideas very quick. I do like I do like what I see from Stuttgart. There's very few games I've seen. I don't watch the Bundesliga like all the time, but like I think that's the manager that the director of football wanted as well. Like I think we need to go after someone that if you're going to try this whole project with all this process things, go after a younger manager and let them build, but
No, and,
get someone
and I
who's going to get
completely
an
hear
identity
that.
quick.
You know what? I completely hear that, and I see what they were trying to do. However, you clearly see that the Lopetegui's hiring was a plan B or plan C or whatever it was, right? Because
Yeah,
maybe Amorim was plan A, and then the Stuttgart manager was plan B, and then we
yeah,
had Lopetegui as plan C. The problem is when you look at it, there was a up and coming manager who was doing well in the Portuguese league, Sergio
Conceição.
Conceição,
Yeah,
who won the league with Porto. So he is a manager that is considered to be an up and coming manager, right? You
yeah,
could have looked at him as a potential plan C. You understand what I'm saying? Because he is currently unemployed as it stands. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, hiring a man like him would, even if it didn't work, people might look at it and say, "Well, listen, he had a lot of stock before he came to before we hired him, right?" Because you're
yeah.
hiring a guy who was managing the Champions League last season, right?
Mhm.
Lopetegui, from the moment he came in, I'm gonna be real. Did any of you guys look at Lopetegui and say, "What this guy could do something this season"? Nah, on the
No,
real. You were
no. I
looking at
just
you were looking at West Ham's squad and saying this squad is scary. The transfer
Mhm.
window is great. They've signed so many good players. But then you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, with all these players, look at their manager. And you're like,
yeah.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I was always gonna back like anyone that comes in, but I just needed to see what he was trying to do. And even in
Right.
pre-season, I was a little bit concerned. Like even in pre-season, I didn't want to get overdo it because it's pre-season. I saw my balance of positives and negatives. I saw I was trying to press at certain points, but I saw already the problems in that. If I had just like if I was more harsh in pre-season, I would have called this way earlier. Where the problem is not just on the ball; it's what we're trying to do off the ball. Which the best analogy I can explain is anyone that's played Football Manager, yeah, you got that out of possession thing. The
Mm.
the defensive bar is on high, but the attacking bar is on low. That is how we structure ourselves. Like the
Uh,
defense is so high up, but everyone else is so deep. So all you need to do, one ball over the top. Because we're not trying to press from the front. We're trying to wait until the ball gets into midfield to press. Which all teams need to do, by the way, is just put someone inverted. You've got out of the press, the so-called press. Like we're sitting high up at times, but then one ball over the top. one ball over the top, and then it's done for us. Like I don't even know what if you don't even know what your team's trying to do off the ball. It's even worse. It's even worse. Like because you don't even know what the approach to the game is. And listen, I only thing I've seen of Conte Sal, for example, is the Porto games against Arsenal, and even then I saw enough. I saw enough from him because I know that I like a manager that's balanced in terms of he's going to try and change it up defensively and still try to keep it organized, but he has an identity in the way he wants to attack. I'm not one of these West Ham fans that like we have to play good football at West Ham. It's just that to get the best out of these players, you got to play somewhat on the front foot, like even a little bit. Like you've got to be a little bit brave. You got to let the players have freedom in this squad because that's the only way. Like even like last season, we had bad defenders, good attackers. We have decent defenders, but we still have better attackers than we do defenders. So just get the best out of the attackers. Go for it because we're getting battered anyway whilst not going for it. So when we are not going for it, we're not leaving out all on the pitch anyway. We're still getting battered, and they're so cool trying to be defensively organised.
I've watched you guys play Man City. You guys played us, obviously, and then the highlights against Spurs. How have you been in your other games? Because against the bigger sides, I'd understand why you guys can get beat. But against everyone else, the lesser sides, are you guys still as bad?
Yeah. We was just as bad against Brentford and Fulham. We needed a last-minute equaliser against Fulham, and we didn't deserve it at all. We only caught them out in the last minute because they were sleeping on a throw-in, and then we got an equaliser from that. Against Brentford, there wasn't really much in the game. Like we pretty much got a really lucky goal, and we didn't do anything after that. We didn't create chances. We didn't dominate them. Our fans were using excuses because we lost to these teams last season away from home. That's an excuse to draw. This is the problem: is the mentality as well. It's mentality within the online fan base. I don't think that the real life fans are just as vicious as me. They'll boo you if you do bad. Like they're not here for time. They're not here for that. If they don't see anything, if they can see that you're trying to be brave and trying to play on the front foot, they'll get behind you like in the crowd. But if they don't like what they're seeing, they will make you hear it. They will let you know. And against the worst sides, for example, even against Ipswich, we don't get me wrong, we dominated Ipswich, but we actually after the first 20 minutes, we didn't play well. We didn't play well. He needed to tweak it. He needed to tweak his tactics a little bit for us to even play well. And it was against Ipswich. But don't get me wrong, Ipswich are they're good. They've been coached well, but they don't have the players. They don't have the players. A lot of players a lot of their players are up and coming from the Championship. They pretty much got everyone that was good from the Championship last season, put them in their team. That's going to take time for them. Against Aston Villa, it was bad. Against Fulham and Brentford, it was bad. It was only the only team that we really handled was Crystal Palace, and they've been terrible this season. They've been below everyone's expectation.
They have been.
So, and we just hit them on the counter. Really, that's what we did. We just hit them on the counter, which is quite easy to do. And Wan-Bissaka saved us that game as well. It's individual moments. It's individuals performing in spite of the manager, just like last season.
Basically. So, okay. So as far as the game is concerned, what did you personally think of the Kudus red card?
I think if you're going to hit someone, do it properly. If you're going to get a red card, do it properly, especially in that game, bro. Like he barely touched him. A 6'4" guy like that tumbling down like that. I don't believe, man. With your big ass boulder shoulders, bro. You ain't falling down like that if that's a real fight. Like, listen, like at that point, bro, who cares? I get it, Kudus. You don't want to play under this manager. I fully hear you. I probably would have done the same thing. I just probably would have hit him a bit harder than that. That's it. Like I'll be real. I'm just being real. Like it was a deserved red card, man. I don't know how they didn't see it in the first place. The fact that they needed VAR for that, I was amazed.
Bro,
I was like,
he literally he just twat the guy like 2 times. Yeah. Did you see it, Prime? Basically, was it Richarlison? Who did he? Did he hit Richarlison first, and then
Van de Ven and then Richarlison,
and then Richarlison, bro?
And then Sarr, he went off the Sarr as well. He pushed Sarr as well.
I looked at it. I looked at it. You know what it is? I think Kudus, when it comes down to it, he's a little bit more. I think it's also frustrations when it comes to Kudus. I think that he's frustrated with everything because I know that basically. I remember they were saying that I think it was in your last game where basically when the manager took him off, he was basically complaining to the manager, and
it was against Brentford,
it really seems that he and the manager have kind of fallen out, and well. It's kind of come to a head when it comes to Kudus because one thing I would say about Kudus is I don't think he's a violent player. He's never really been like this. So to see him react that way,
I'll be real. I don't think he was trying to punch him. I think he was trying to push him, but it's just that he aimed for the face instead of the chest.
Yeah.
I think if he aimed for the chest, then no one's talking about it. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, listen, I don't think so either. It's because they're making it a big deal because he went out 3 players and stuff. And that's the thing, even when it comes to the falling out with the manager as well, he fell out with Moyes as well. People like to make out like, oh, him and Moyes were cool and that. No, he fell out with Moyes. Moyes lost the dressing room. People don't realise this. Moyes lost Alvarez and Kudus mainly. He outed Alvarez for no reason. And funny enough, in the Chelsea game, when we got battered 6-0, or 5-0, whatever it was, he was like, he took him off at half time, then said in his press conference, oh, we've been getting battered because we don't have Declan Rice. Brother, you had 100 million to spend. And you want to McTominay and Maguire. You want to McTominay and Maguire. That's Moyes for you, though. Like, to replace Declan Rice. But apparently that would have avoided us getting battered. This was the same guy that was playing Ward-Prowse on the left and Ben Johnson on the left. Like, I'm not going to get into that. But, Lopetegui also fell out with Kudus because Kudus was complaining at half time against Brentford. And Lopetegui said he wasn't a team player in the press conference. But you have to play Kudus. Because guess what? Guess who every West Ham fan would rather see gone out of you and Kudus? You. Because even if Kudus goes, he's going for 85 million next season probably for his
and
release.
he's going to go to a bigger club. Like Chelsea would want him. I know Arsenal would want him. I know Liverpool would also want him. Like there will be clubs that would be lining up for him. So
I mean, if you're offering him, I'll take him.
I'm definitely not offering him. But
if I have to, I'll take it. Yeah, it's fine.
That would be a final nail in the coffin if Kudus goes to a London club after me having to see him being wasted under two managers after him being wasted. This is the thing; it's all built-in frustration as well because he was at an underachieving Ajax side, went to West Ham, played under David Moyes where he couldn't be free of himself. He's now just come off of a lot of criticism against Ghana in the international duty. He's come back to West Ham again and he's playing under another manager that he probably doesn't like. So he's probably very frustrated. It's funny, he actually likes being here. He just doesn't like playing under these managers.
He doesn't like playing under managers.
By the way, I think the criticism for Ghana is unwarranted for him.
I haven't watched the game.
I don't think I didn't watch the last international break, but watching Ghana at AFCON and stuff and at the World Cup, I don't think he's warranted all of the criticism. I think he does a lot for that team that goes unnoticed because the team is so bad. But
that's
regardless, true. Because he's the best player.
Look, if you really deep it, Prime, you watch a lot of African football just like me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we know that when it comes to Ghana, even players like Iñaki Williams don't play well for Ghana. Neither does Jordan Ayew or Samayo or any of these players who are one of their key players. They don't perform. And I think that's more of a problem with them. But before we do move on from the West Ham, I do want to talk a little bit about Tottenham, right? What did you guys think of the Tottenham performance in general?
You know what? I'm not even trying to hate. I'm not trying to hate. I'm generally not. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, and I always am. I've tried to be anyway. I think we gave them a lot of space for them to put chances away. I think they weren't. Joy is the switch from Ange Postecoglou to put Sarr instead for Maddison was a good switch. I didn't even think Maddison was that terrible or anything, but it's just the fact that I think he wanted to nullify our threat in the middle. I think he did that well, to be fair, with Sarr, giving him a lot more energy, and they were getting overrun a bit. I said we could get at their midfield if we had a better midfield, but I think overall they got us with third man runs. They just hit us on overloads and down the sides that really hurt us. I just think we gave them a lot of space. I think we helped them a lot with the last 3 goals. If you can see 3 goals in 7 minutes, I don't think it's necessarily because a team has been that clinical necessarily. It's because we've given them all the space, and one of them was an own goal. Some of these goals we were conceding was ridiculous. It was just Tadibo and Kilman at times. I don't think they were this is what you're going to get with Tottenham. You're going to get one of these performances where they're going to win like this, and let them have their week of happiness, because they're going to have another week like Brighton when they bottle it. I'm being serious. They're going to do this.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, Mike. I'm kind of listen. Alex, I said this to you, so you know my opinion of this. The thing with Tottenham is Tottenham's plan A. If it works, it's dangerous. If they play against certain teams, they will batter certain teams who are not good defensively. Absolutely batter them. But you know what's gonna happen? When they play teams that can attack them, they're gonna get battered. That's how things are gonna go this season for them. And I have already said that this inconsistency that they have is what eventually is gonna cost them the season from winning anything. Because in order to win, you need to be good at both sides, right? In the League Cup, they're playing against Manchester City. Manchester City are not gonna sit back. They're gonna attack, and guess what? In that game, they're gonna get exposed, right? We saw it against Arsenal, right? Yeah, Arsenal lost the Odegaard and all these players, but Arsenal were good at set pieces, and guess what? Right? These guys were playing a highline gung ho football. Guess what? All Arsenal had to do was get a goal and just sit back, because defensively they were set up defensively well. When they play against Chelsea, it's gonna be peak for them, because Chelsea right now, attacking wise, they are scary, right? So at the end of the day, we saw, just like we saw against Brighton, maybe they will get a lot of chances, but defensively, Chelsea have been doing well defensively. So we could just keep your eye on that game. That's all I'm saying. Don't be surprised if they get battered by Chelsea. But
that's the thing with Tottenham. If they come up against any sort of defense that's remotely organized, they're finished. They don't know how to, even though they're an attacking side, they don't know any plan B to open up any sort of organized defense. Because we were actually kind of organized in the first half, and that's why they couldn't open us up. It was because we made a mistake and it hit us on a counter. They actually look good on a transition because they got transitional players. Like Brennan Johnson's a good transition player. Like even Kulusevski is good on a transition. Kulusevski played really well today. He was actually probably man of the match, to be fair to him. He ran the show, and all credit where it's due, because we were even struggling when they were struggling in the first half. He was the only one actually doing anything, to be fair to him. I just think they become a bit predictable with their fullbacks at times. I think everyone knows what their fullbacks are going to do. But basically, I think also they need this. They need, like, if you're going to be an attacking manager, you need to have a plan B to open up different kind of defenses. Any defense that's remotely organized will beat Tottenham. That's why we done well in the first half and didn't do well in the second half.
What about you, Josh? What do you think of Tottenham's performances and long term?
Long term, we'll get the same with Tottenham. Just unless, again, I'm biased aside, people. Yeah, they'll have this result. Talk about it 4-1, against London rivals West Ham. They'll be loving it, of course. But long term, they won't maintain it at the end of the day, and it'll always be what happens with Tottenham, in my opinion. Like, we see the way how Postecoglou plays, and like, again, bias aside, I just think he's a good manager. Like, real talk, I just think he's a manager with Tottenham. I like the football that he's trying to implement with them. But we're seeing a common theme with Tottenham. Where it comes to crunch time, and they never deliver at the end of the day. I mean, you look at the manager they've had in the past with Conte, Mourinho, and they've still gone on this, trophy drought, and it's going to continue to do so at the end of the day. Again, I think they've got some good players in there, in their team. And today's performance, actually, yeah, I agree. Like in the first half, for West Ham actually set up really well. And as you guys said, when they seem to only have plan A, there's no plan B in terms of breaking these teams down, even though they're more of a attacking style of team now with Postecoglou. And I saw it, as you said, when they played against Arsenal, when they got a solid defense against them, it's going to be very, very hard to, they sometimes, have that inconsistency in the final third, and that end product is not there with them. And, teams are making it frustrating for them. And obviously defensively as well, they're going to leave gaps as well. And, they can leave places where you can exploit them. So, yeah, for me, look, it's just the same old Tottenham. I mean, I saw it a few times last season where they beat teams like Newcastle. I think they beat like 4-1. But then when it really mattered at the end of the day, it's what Tottenham always do, man. And it's just bottle all the time. So, yeah, like, simple as that, really. I mean, they'll be buzzing with the result, but they won't maintain this. Obviously, we see what happened when they played against Brighton, wasn't it, this season already. So it's going to be hit and miss for them all season. And I don't expect nothing. Even with Postecoglou, I don't expect anything from them. Just that's bias aside as well, man.
Yeah. What about you, Prime? What do you think of Tottenham in their performance and long term?
Spurs are Spurs. So
that's it, bro.
I don't understand what that question means. Like,
no, basically, no. So, what do you think? As far as I know today's performance, right? They played well, right? But what do you think, like, as far as their performance this season so far and long term? How do you think this is gonna go for them? And how long do you think, basically their style of play? What is it gonna bring them this season? Do you think that it would give them top four? Do you see them like doing anything this season at
It,
all?
it will bring them what it always brings them, nothing. Like that's not. I'm not being mean, but like I just don't understand the question you're trying to ask me. They're not. They're not going to win the league. I
Uh-huh.
don't. They're not going to win a trophy. Actually, I think Ange will try and win a trophy because he's been speaking a lot about I win everywhere I go in my second season. So I think he's going to try and win, but Tottenham will Tottenham and he won't be able to win. So I think he could end up leaving or getting sacked just because he can. I think he's going to be fed up with everything that's going on. He's trying his best. He really is, but it's extremely difficult to change a culture. So he might just end up going somewhere else where that will be Man United, maybe. You might be interested in him.
Manchester,
But
yeah, you said this earlier on Flawless Stream. Why do you believe that Manchester United would go for a guy like Postecoglou?
I think they're like he'd be a decent fit in terms of
Big up to Jess.
in terms of style of play. I think he's a very good coach. So whether it's him sacking or he ends up leaving, I don't know. But I think it would make sense if he's not able to win this season and he still ends up getting fed up and frustrated with Levy and everything, then he might as well. He might as well go. He's
Yeah,
a very
so-
bro. He's a very talented coach. I rate Ange. The talent, even though people can say he doesn't have a plan B, but I think he's one of those managers like that want to bed in their plan A first before switching to a B. Sarri is like that. Pep is like
Yeah.
that. He's just one of those guys, which is fine. But yeah, I think with Spurs, like the best they can hope for really is top four, which I don't think they'll get. They're not better than Chelsea. They're not better than Liverpool. They're not better than Villa.
Yeah,
I had them finishing seventh, I think, seventh or eighth.
Ooh.
I said
Wow.
fifth at the start of the season, but I think I probably moved that sixth, just because I didn't know where Chelsea. I didn't think Chelsea would be this good.
Yeah.
I don't think seventh or eighth is bad, by the way. I think that's
No.
still good. There's just better teams than them in the league.
Do you think that basically because of their like one-way style of football is going to be the thing that's going to cost them a lot this season, a lot of points when they play against teams that know how to counter that?
Not even just that, it's their squad depth. Actually, even their starting 11 at times, but their squad depth. I mean, I don't rate Solanke, but even when you take him out, they don't have any other options. Brennan Johnson's coming into a bit of form. Let's see how well he keeps that, how much long he keeps that up. Son, I think he's finished.
Yeah,
It's not the same
I think
front.
so too.
Their
It's not the same front
midfield is kind of imbalanced at times. They don't really have a true defensive midfielder. Madison's not that good. I think he's a waste of money. I think he's a massive flop people aren't talking about. But I rate their defense. Like, considering how attacking they play, their defense is quite solid. You know, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, I think he's a quality centre back. They've got Doki and Vicario. They've got quality defensive structure.
That's the thing, isn't it? That's really the thing, isn't it? Because if you really think about it, they actually have a very good defense. I know Romero has his bozo moments, but he does have his moments where he does do well. I rate Van de Ven very highly. I think that I've already said, if Saliba doesn't go to Madrid, I think Madrid might go for Van de Ven. That's how much I highly rate him, right? That's why it kind of surprises me why defensively they concede a lot of goals. Do you understand what I'm saying?
The reason why, but that's because of their system. I look at Arsenal. What's Arsenal's back for? Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and
I guess
the other guy,
Calafiori.
Oh, Timber. I guess Timber if he's fit.
If you take either one of their centre backs and the goalkeeper, if you put them in Ange's system, they wouldn't look as solid. They would be getting exposed. The same way I take Spurs' back four, goalkeeper and back four, and put them in Arteta's system, we'd be talking about the best defense in the league. It's not about individual quality at that point. It's the system. Spurs play way too attacking for the quality of their defenders, and Arsenal are just way too defensive. That's for me, it's the big difference. It's not individual quality, because I think individual quality, they're all roughly on the same level.
There we go. Yeah, listen, before we continue, guys, listen, man, let's run up these likes, man. Let's get to at least 20 likes today. That's like, this is the first show of True Ballers FC, guys, the debut show, guys. Listen, man, let's do some numbers on this stream. We've had like 5, 6, 7, 8 people on this stream, guys. A lot of people have been liking so far. Let's get those likes up to 10 likes, man. We're already at 8. Let's get it to 10, guys. All right. But yeah, Jess has actually been in the chat. He's actually been saying a few good points. Basically, this is the point. Basically, he did mention he believes that they're going to finish 5th to 7th. That is his personal opinion. Now, I think this is actually not impossible if you kind of look at the teams, especially their performance this season, right? That kind of inconsistency that you have, where you can be that good in certain games, but also you can fall off. It's not. That doesn't get you. Like, I think that was what caused them to fall last season. Because if you really deep it, the reason why Aston Villa still top 4 is because at the end of the season, Tottenham were just missing out on precious points. You understand what I'm saying? So all Aston Villa had to do was just have a little bit of consistency, and before you know it, they're still top 4 before the final day of the season. But yeah, man, listen. That is basically it. I want to move on from Mike's, because I know I'm not gonna lie, I've been watching you all stream today. You were in the football turns. I saw you on your channel. You've been basically, I think, were you Never Foul today, or was that Hooks? I think that was Hooks. But yeah, basically, yeah, you've had a lot to. You've been getting smoked everywhere. So listen, let's finally get away from you. And let's go to another club. Unfortunately, what's his name? Sheik was supposed to be here, but unfortunately, he had to go to work. Big up to Sheik. Make sure you guys subscribe to him. But yeah, let's go to him, man. Manchester United 2, Brentford 1. Did you guys watch the game today?
Yeah, I watched it, to be fair. Actually, that was the 3 o'clock game at court. To be fair, I did think Brentford would get something. I did, but Man United do this, where when their manager's about to get his head chopped off, they always survive. They survive for another month, man. Ten Hag survived for another month, which is probably good for my club, because we face them next. But fuck that, forget all of that, man. I was second and all that. But with Brentford, sometimes what's it called? When it comes to Brentford, they can be organised at times, but sometimes they can they restrict themselves a bit too much. They do the same thing now, where they have this back 4 full of centre backs, like Sepp van der Berg at right back, Christopher Ayer left back, and they've got Pinnock and Collins. But sometimes that doesn't always work. They've gone strictly for height at that time, and Mbeumo was just so isolated, and they didn't really have enough time for him and Wilson to be on the same pitch. But Man United just switched it up in the second half. They were moving the ball a lot quicker. They were running at Brentford's defenders, and Brentford's defenders just looked lethargic, just lack of concentration. But to be fair to Rashford and Garnacho for that first goal, that was a really good goal. I don't rate either of them that highly, to be honest, but it was a great cross from Rashford, and I was questioning why Rashford was on the right, and he does that, but that's what Rashford does. Now and then when what's it called? They have moments, players. They have moments. We've seen this for years. We've seen this under Solskjaer,
basically
all them years ago. They have moments of madness. They have moments of quality. But it's whether they can do it over the whole season or 2 seasons in a row. I think we see with these group of players they can't. I'm not saying the manager isn't a problem because of that, but it's a whole thing. The whole thing's a problem for me. The same players that always get battled out. But also, this manager, I didn't even know what Man United were trying to do today, to be honest. We kind of just we'll just pass it around for a bit and see what we can do. But that's what Man United have been for the past 4 or 5 years. I think this is just one of them games where they've got over the line, fair enough, but they're not going to capitalise on it. They won't go on a run or anything like that. They haven't turned a corner. They're just delaying the inevitable, really. So we're probably waiting until Christmas or January for maybe Ten Hag to finally lose his job, because they're always going to get that one win that just gets them over. It's like that Villa Porto 2 games. They drew both of them. And that makes it look like that Ten Hag's got something out of it, because even during the last minute against Porto, if he had lost both of them, we might actually be talking about he's actually under pressure. But it doesn't actually seem he's under much pressure as he should be. It feels like he's under pressure under the media, but not the owners, for me. It feels like it's still a media circus, but we don't actually know if the owners are really putting him under pressure, because they only just backed him. So it kind of... Do you know what the problem is as well? Ineos will make themselves look bad either way, because if they keep him, and he keeps going on like this, they look bad because they've kept him. But if they sack him, they look bad because they just backed him in the summer after interviewing other managers. So
Basically,
either
yeah.
way, it's a double-edged sword for them. But overall, Man United, this is what they do, man. This is what they do. Like they like whenever the manager's on the chopping block, another win, another month the manager survives.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. You know what? I'm sure everyone in this panel we can all agree when we saw the fixture today, United against Brentford. A lot of us looked at that and we said, even though we want, we all will form is telling us that, and performance has been telling us that United can probably mess this up. It's just so United for them to just go and win a game when they're under pressure. You just said it, Mike. It really is. I'm not joking, right?
Yeah.
When it was halftime 1-0, I predicted 2-1 to Brentford because I heard that apparently Brentford hadn't won there since 1942. I was like, oh, another long-term record? Oh yeah, this one is getting broken. Ten Hag, this has been his specialty since he's arrived at United, right? Breaking records since the 1800s and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Let's see it. So I'm just like, so it was when it was 1-0, I said, nah. I know what's gonna happen here. I know what's gonna happen here. This club, Ten Hag does this all the time. When the pressure, because if he lost today, then there would be massive pressure. The fans would be like, yeah, what else do you need, Ineos? He's just lost to Brentford now. What are you gonna say? So I was like, this is the perfect game for him to find a way to scumbag a win. And literally, you could not write this.
Yeah.
They ended up scumbag another win. And at the end of the day, it doesn't surprise anyone at this point, does it?
No.
Like this is what they do, and they're playing against Fenerbahce this in the Europa League against Mourinho. They're probably going to lose that game, but at the end of the day, you said it, Mike. When they lost to Tottenham, there was a lot of talk, right? Who are they gonna what are they gonna do? The match against Porto is probably the one where he's gonna get sacked. And guess what? He was 2-0 up, messed it up, almost lost the game, but they ended up salvaging a draw in a game where they were expected to lose. Then they play against Villa where they're expected to lose against an informed Villa team. Guess what? This manager found a way to get out of there with a point. And then today, against Brentford, where you were expecting them to win, they didn't go 1-0 down. Everyone's like, yeah, this is the moment he gets sacked. You can't lose to Brentford at home. Guess what? Just like that, he figures it out and gets a win. It's the same repetitive thing at this point when it comes to this manager. And against Fenerbahce, it's going to be the same. It genuinely would surprise me if they go there and get a draw. Like it genuinely wouldn't shock me. But this is United's form. And you mentioned and you said it right, man. I know today players like Garnacho played well, but at the end of the day, these players are not going to be the reason. And listen, we can say whatever we want about the players, but I'm sorry. The reason why the manager should take a lot of flack for this is because this is his team. He chose these players. He's the one who said, I didn't want Sancho, I didn't want Ronaldo, I didn't want Fred, I didn't want what's his name? Who else? He was the one who said, I want Anthony. He was the one who said, I rate Garnacho. He's the one who said, I would rather play players like, I don't know. Like, bro, I can't even mention their players. They have so many trash players, man. I can't even mention them. But this is the point that I'm mentioning. This team is his team. And this is why whenever he's under pressure, it's like, of course you're under pressure. You're under pressure because at the end of the day, this is your team. You have nobody to blame but yourself. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
thanks.
at the end of the day, you reap what you sow. This is your team. Deal with it. That's how I look at it. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, just paving over cracks with Ten Hag. You know, when it comes to pressure on, he always finesses away. You know, and listen, it's gonna be like this again, continuing on for the season, just with Man United. You know, the amount of games, and I saw it last season as well. Even against these sides that, with all due respect, I know it's Premier League and all this, you don't underestimate anyone, but even against these types of sides that you're looking at Man United on paper, and you're saying, they should be cruising through these games. They don't. They just scrape it into the day. And that's, for me, what it's been like with Ten Hag at Man United, and it's going to be like this. I'm not complaining because he keeps staying. Then they're going to keep in the downfall at the end of the day, because I think he's one of. I'm not putting it all on him, but I think he's one of the the big problems over there at Man United, because we know how big their club is, and they have to get back to that standard of where they once were. And I think that starts for me by finding that right manager there. But in terms of the game, obviously, I'm like you guys. I was like, even before the game, I predicted Brentford to win. To be real with it, but and I saw them wind up. I was like, yes, same old United incoming. But Garnacho looked really good for them today. Again, I don't rate him as highly as most people do, to be honest. But I thought he had a really good game in the end. Great guy it was, to be fair. To get the equaliser. And obviously Højlund as well, scored a decent goal, good finish there. And, they finesse a win really. But, I mean, Brentford as well, I think Thomas Frank, again, I rate him as a manager, man. I kind of think he's getting to the end of his Brentford era, though. I think he needs to take that next development in his next career to, maybe, with all due respect to Brentford, to a much higher club or a new challenge for him, because I think he's a good manager, man. And I think he's done really well at Brentford to keep them up in these ever since he got them, in the Premier League. So, I think and obviously they lost Ivan Toney, so it's interesting to see how they'll do with him. But I still think they got some quality players there, and I still think they had some big chances today. They gave United on a different day. I think they could have came away with that with the 3 points. But it's what typical Man United do, and it's going to be so interesting to see what happens. Mourinho returns for Fenerbahce, and I got a feeling he's going to put off a masterclass against them. So we'll be there, man.
Yeah, I also on the Thomas Frank thing as well. It's so impressive for a promoted team to stay in the Premier League for this long, but not also stay in the Premier League, to not be in the massive relegation battle. The last season was the closest they got to a relegation battle, and they were kind of there. But it's also because they had so many injuries. Like Rico Henry was such a key player for them. He's still injured now, and he got injured literally nearly a year ago at Newcastle away last year. They had so many injuries. They had Tony for a ban for 6 months, and he didn't get a pre-season to come back and be the same Ivan Tony that we all know. And they don't spend that much either. And a lot of those players that are there came up with Thomas Frank. They came up with it.
Yeah.
Facts.
The Norgard's still there. Mbumo's still there. Jensen, Yano, all these players. Pinnock is still there. Pinnock's been a great servant for them. He just knows how to switch it up, but also keep his identity. He knows when to go for it. Knows when to partner bus a bit. But he's doing all he
him
can.
At West Ham?
Yeah, joy is. I don't know where with these group of players. I don't know whether they'd fit him. I don't know whether he fit these group of style of players. That's my only thing. I think he's a good manager. I think if it was a different kind of squad, I think he could do a good job at West Ham. I just don't know whether it's specifically these kind of players, whether he could get the best out of them. But I'm not too sure. I'll get behind the appointment. I think he's also the right kind of manager that I like, where he knows when to go for it, knows when to park the bus. So I also don't know he's worked at Brentford where there's not really any pressure. With all due respect to Brentford, even with us, there isn't it's not like Arsenal, Barcelona, Chelsea were for pressure, but it's there's still pressure here. It can get toxic, but it can get toxic. So I would like to, if there's a club with expectation, I'd love to see how he tackles that, because there's only a certain amount of time where you control all these different tactics, where fans are just going to demand the simple things, and whether his tactics might become him just overcomplicating it at another club, we don't know. But I think you're right when you said about he's coming to the end of his Brentford frame, because as much as I used to say, okay, he should stay at Brentford and take some time with it instead of jumping to a new club, I think he's done enough. He's not going to get backed. He's not really going to get backed with loads of money, even though they make a lot of money, even though they do sell for quite big. They sold Ivan Toney recently. They sold David Raya. So they've got money there, but they just don't spend it, because that's not the type of club they are. They spend less and sell for big. The whole Moneyball thing that goes on upstairs. They've got similar owners to one of the Dutch club, Danish clubs. So that with the way they work, I think Thomas Frank deserves to just go on. He's done a lot for the club. I'm sure Brentford fans would be like, "You've done everything. You go on and do whatever." I don't know who is going to hire him, but I feel like it's going to be in the next year or so. We're going to see him move clubs.
Yeah. Prime, what did you think of the United game against Brentford? I'm sure you had a chance to watch the game.
Good comeback from Man United. I think it's still just individual brilliance in them. It's still individual brilliance. There's nothing really like structured or coherent. However, they've picked up results in their last 3 games. So I don't know. Are things truly turning a corner? I don't necessarily think so. I think it's just Ten Hag, like, and the players. They know they're playing for their jobs right now, so, and they're kicking it into gear. But realistically, that's not going to last for long. I don't know. Because there's still a bit of talent in the squad. There's like, if he wasn't the manager, they could still go now and push for a top 4 spot. There's a basis of a good 11. But he just doesn't play the right players, or if he does, he'll play them out of position. Yeah, he's just so awful.
Nah, bro. You see, this is the thing. When it comes to United fans, sometimes there's certain fans I got no time for. I feel sorry for. They know who they are. But in general, right, when it comes to Manchester United, it's that you don't really know what style that they're playing. It's very similar to what you could look at when the kind of frustrations that you have, Mike, as a West Ham fan, where you don't really know what is the plan when it comes to Lopetegui. I think a lot of United fans, they are the point now where they're looking at this and they're like, bro, first of all, you say you don't want to play the Ajax style of football. Okay, what style do you want to play? And at the end of the day, it makes no sense. At the end of the day, the most important thing in every single manager, good manager, is you have a style of play. People look at you and say, this is what he's good at. Like someone like Ange.
Ollie, people made fun of Ollie for like they played too negative and there was no attacking style. But at least with Ollie, you knew that they would be dangerous on the counter attack. With Man United, they can't pass properly. They can't break down a low block. They can't really defend. Like they can't do anything as a team. This is like watching Chelsea last season under Poch. They can't do anything.
Yeah. Like, do you know what as well? Remember in his first season where they were good at defending, a lot of that was relied on Varane, in my opinion. Varane, in terms of in-the-box defending, like, they were heavily reliant on the partnership that they had with Martinez, but even Martinez was getting caught out in wide areas. Varane wasn't getting caught out as much. Varane was the very big part of that spine that was getting them clean sheets. Like, Casemiro was on form as well. Obviously, like, when it comes to them as well, like, even if they buy, like, a talented player, the problem is they will start off well and they'll become a shining light. And then once they get used to these players, they just become another one of the victims in the team. It's like when Kobe Mainu came in. It was like refreshing to see someone like be composed on the ball and stuff as well. But once he got used to the team, he was getting isolated, is getting put too high up the pitch, too deep, etc., and just getting mismanaged all over the pitch. Like under Oli, we were even seeing Man United were, as you said, they were good on the counter. But and even then they were still just winning at individual moments. They're even worse now. Like they even got worse than they were under Oli. They've won 2 trophies, yes, but in league form they were worse.
At least Oli set up to do that. Like that was actually his plan. But with Ten Hag, your first 2 games at United, you wanted to play possession based. You got battered, and then you switched to playing counter attack for the first season. Fine, I understand it. But then, like, you start bringing in more players to play this pressing shape, which makes sense. The profile of Mount makes sense, but Mount as a player is not good anymore. The profile of Ugarte kind of makes sense, but like him as a footballer, he's just not that good. Casemiro, I think, is a board signing from the Glazers. The same with Varane. The same with De Ligt. I think they're all like Glazer signings. Mazraoui has been better than I thought he would be, to be fair, but he's playing out of position. Martinez has dropped off massively. Onana's a massive flop. Hoyland's a massive flop. Zirk looks good, but you're not.
But he needs help.
They don't use it properly as well.
That's the thing. And listen, I agree with big up to Manchester United and Real Madrid. Game and glory. This is a good point. This is a lot of the issues that I see with United is when it comes down to it, a lot of the fan base, the divide in the fan base for me makes no sense. Basically the one thing that for a long time, and you know this, Josh, right? The one thing that a lot of people used to banter Arsenal for, especially during the Wenger era, where there were Wenger outs and Wenger ins and all of these stuff, right? And there was always a divide. And you always used to look at it and say, well, I can use the excuse that kids who were born in the early 2000s never really saw this team win the league, right? So for them, they don't really know how like a glorious Arsenal team really looks like. I can use that example for United because the last time United won the league was 10 years ago. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't that long ago, right? The fact that you have people who remember what it was like to be under Sir Alex Ferguson, the expectations of the club, right? The expectation that the club the manager put into the players and into the fans, where a bare minimum in a season was challenging for the league, to now, let's back the manager. Like, it's been 10 years since you've won the league, right? Like, sometimes, like, some of these people, you look at last season, Ten Hag, right? This guy last season did not win. He finished bottom in the Champions League.
Yeah.
But was knocked out early in the Carabao Cup. Finished, what, 8th or 9th in the league last season? And his only saving grace was winning the FA Cup. But winning that FA Cup was enough for these fans to write a letter to the Ineos and basically demand that they keep this manager. At that moment is when I realized, I was like, bro, this club has actually fallen. This club has actually fallen. You're telling me,
you're forgetting what, like, Man United fans and Arsenal fans are two fan bases that they think quite differently from everyone else because they're used to having Fergie was there for 20 something years. Wenger was there for I think 13. They're used to having stability with their managers. They're used to giving their managers time. Fergie, it took him I think 4 or 5 years before he started winning. Man United have this vision. There are United fans who have this vision of, oh, we need to give the manager time. He needs to get through the rough patch before we start winning. Oli was on the brink of building, and then we ruined it by signing Ronaldo and sacking him. United fans think the same with Ten Hag, that if you give him time, you give him another season, let him get a proper structure in, that he will eventually come good. But there's been no real signs to back that, and people will compare it with Arteta. But even with Arteta, like, he's done very well with Arsenal to take them from the depths to title challengers, but he's still not won anything.
Yeah. And this is the thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, this is the thing. Like, kind of similar to what we were saying earlier about identity and what Jez is kind of saying. That Man United, when you watch them on and off the ball, even off the ball, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to press high? Are they trying to drop deep? And it's like they're trying to do a bit of both in the same game. It's like they don't know whether they want to play high on the pitch or deep as well. And it brings me back to when they signed Onana, and the first game of the season, I'm pretty sure it was the Wolves game. It was a Monday Night Football, and Ten Hag got interviewed by Carragher and Neville, and they were asking about Onana and the signing and stuff like, oh, well, you brought him in and his distribution and stuff and his short play and playing up from the back and stuff. And Ten Hag was really trying to elaborate on the fact, yeah, but he can also play it long as well. And Man United fans thought in that summer they were going to play the Ajax football and stuff, but they only realised that season that Ten Hag was coming out saying, no, we don't want to play that way because I don't have the players. But you've been backed. You wanted all these players. You've got a lot of players that played in Ajax, like Onana, Martinez, Mazzarri, like De Ligt and stuff. Like there's a lot of players that would know that way if you actually went to coach that way. But yeah, fair enough. Rashford doesn't, Fernandes doesn't, etc. But also signed Anthony as well in attack as well. So, like, you haven't really got any excuses. There's a lot of backwards talk, and I feel like he speaks a lot in the media, but it doesn't back up anything he's actually doing on the pitch, you know? Like, ironically, there is no plan, but he loves to say stick to the plan in a lot of his interviews and stuff. That's seems to be his go-to.
That's the problem.
What is the plan?
And that's the thing. You can stick with a plan if you know what the plan is. What is the plan? Like, at the end of the day, it's a shout out to Jez. Jez basically even said it. It's like Ten Hag's issue is that he doesn't know what he wants to be as a coach. Hence, you see many different types of profiles of signings. He wants defensive. He wants to be defensive versus big teams, but different against lower ups. Like I agree with this because if you watch sometimes when they play against, like, remember in his first season when they played Liverpool and they considered 7. Like
Yeah.
that was a sign that people were ignoring, but they kind of just gave him the opportunity as, oh well, it's his first season, we'll give him time. But bro, look at his time. Like we could literally check this guy. I think he at some point he lost what 6-3? Was it 6-3 against City? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost 4-3 to Chelsea last season at Stamford Bridge. Was it 4-3?
7.
Prime.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And recently, what's the biggest result you guys have Arsenal gotten against United? Because I know they've beaten United a few times. Was it 3-1?
3-1 at Emirates, 3-1.
Yes, you beat them 3-1. In fact, you did the double against them last season because you beat them 1-0
1-0 at Old Trafford,
at Old Trafford, right? But that's
There
the
was
thing.
7 at Liverpool as well.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Liverpool, they lost. They considered they lost what? They lost 3-0 this season. How much did they lose last season? Away at Stamford
They
Bridge.
drew at Anfield. They drew at Anfield.
Oh yeah, they actually drew. Okay.
They lost. I think.
Yeah.
No, they drew
No,
at
they
Old
drew.
Trafford as well.
They drew both games basically.
Yeah.
But
But the
this
time
is
before that, it was 7-0.
But see, this is the point, right? At the end of the day, this guy, his record against the big teams is absolutely putrid. Genuinely, people don't talk about this enough. His record against the top 6 is genuinely one of the worst I've ever seen from a United coach.
Not even the top 6. His record against teams lower than United is bad.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to Brentford and Brighton 4-0.
He's a very, very, very bad coach, and United shouldn't be this bad. They should not be this bad.
They shouldn't be. We all agree on that. This is the thing. At the end of the day, certain fans, I think they deserve this. Not, like I said, it's not all the fans. The fans who were writing the letter. Yeah, this is what you paid for. This is what you wrote the letter for. This is your team. This is your manager. This is the guy you backed. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're seeing it. Like I said this before, when it comes to cup competitions, anyone can win the cup. Okay, you guys won the Conference League a few seasons ago, right? We've seen Arsenal win the FA Cup in seasons when they didn't exactly have a good season, but they went on to win the FA Cup during the Wenger years. We've seen Chelsea win the FA Cup. We've seen Chelsea's Champions League in 2012. Can we say they were the best team in Europe around the time? No, because the Barca team were better. The Madrid team was better. That was one of the best. But Prime, you get that is the point I'm trying to make, right? In 90 minutes, you got the job done. You understand what I'm saying? In 120 minutes, you beat us 1-0 at the semifinals. And guess what? In the second leg, you got the away goals. And guess what? You won. So whether we had the better team, whether we had the better players, guess what? At the end of the day, in 90 minutes, you won. And then guess what? In that final against Bayern Munich, yes, you got dominated, but in 120 minutes, whatever you guys planned, the setup of your team got you the win. You understand what I'm saying? My point is, in a cup, Prime, anyone can beat anyone. You understand what I'm saying? You can set up to play against a team and win. That's what we saw last season when Ten Hag played against Pep. Because we know at the end of the day, man for man, team for team, City should have beaten, like 9 times out of 10, you're picking City to be United. But guess what? In 90 minutes, anyone can beat anyone, and that's what happened. They got the luck of the draw and they got the win. And a lot of fans should have looked at it and said, okay, but we need to look at this in general. And in general, we did not have a good season. We cannot masquerade.
United fans got clouded because Chelsea finished above us, but we won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And we took the Europa League spot from them. Ineos are in. United fans do this a lot. Every few years, we go through the same cycle of we bring in a new manager, we go on a little bounce. Oh, we're back. We've got 20 games unbeaten, best defensive record. We're outscoring teams. They'll beat a Liverpool or a City or whatever. They'll go on a little cup run. Next season, okay, all we need is, Pogba. or a Varane or a this or a that. We just need a few pieces added in. And then in a year's time, things are falling apart. Rashford's not scoring goals anymore. The midfield's getting exposed. Maguire's getting spun. Oh, it's the manager's fault. Get Ollie out. All of a sudden, David De Gea is not a good goalkeeper anymore. Pogba's fault. It's Rooney's fault. It's this player's fault. It's that player's fault. And then it's the same cycle over and over and over. What's happening with Ten Hag happened with Ollie, happened with Jose, happened with Van Gaal. It's the same cycle. It's different players because one player will get scapegoated. Like now it's Bruno and Rashford. Before it was Pogba, it was Fred, it was McTominay. They're gone. Before that, it was Rooney and Fellaini. That's why this whole club just needs a complete reset. It's not about a single manager. A manager won't affect anything necessarily. It needs a complete reset all the way through. But no one's done it so far, for one. And two, United fans get too giddy too quick. One, they'll win 5 games and all of a sudden they're back, and then they'll lose a game. But they won't see the signs. They won't see the signs until it gets very bad. United fans are only now waking up to the Ten Hag being sacked. But this has been going on for 18 months since the Carabao Cup final against Newcastle. They've been bad, but no one's noticed it. Well, few people have, Flawless and Saeed, but the masses haven't realized how bad this has been.
Yeah,
no, that's the thing. If you've been watching Manchester United in general, because we watch football, some people they don't watch the game; they just find the result. Right? People who went to watch United last season will tell you this guy should not have been kept last season. Right? And listen, Prime, you nailed it on the head.
But people will still make excuses though, because when I speak or you speak, we're rivals. So who cares? When Flawless speaks
our
on
opinions don't exactly.
Flawless is a hater. So who cares what he thinks? It's not until it becomes popular. Like with me last season with Chelsea, I was speaking about Poch from the beginning, but I was called a hater. It was an agenda because he's Spurs. But in the back end of this, or not the back end, after the Carabao Cup final, people started to realize how bad we actually were. It took halfway through the season for people to realize.
Yeah, losing to a third string Liverpool team.
Exactly. Look at Arsenal. Yeah. Like there are people now starting to see that if Arteta doesn't win a trophy this season, he might have to go. But people like Northside have been speaking about this for a year now, or over a year now. That they need to start winning with this great team. You need to start progressing and doing things. Mike's is the only one, or at least because he's the only West Ham YouTuber I know. But from the way Mike speaks, he seems to be the only one speaking about how bad West Ham are. But people won't realize this until halfway through the season. And all of a sudden, Lopetegui now is bad. And now
you guys are fighting for the relegation. That's when people are going to be like, "Oh, wait a minute."
Bad for a while and no one's noticed. And that's the thing. Fans, they don't realize until things get very bad. And that's the problem. And that's part of the problem.
Yeah. Even on the West Ham thing, I was Moyes out in the first game coming back from a World Cup. In fact, it was against Arsenal when we lost 3-1. I was Moyes out when the lineup came out. It was specifically the lineup because I remember it was the exact same lineup from when we before came from the World Cup. I was like, how are you playing the exact same players you waited all that time? And I was manager out from then. But I was a very small YouTuber, so I wasn't getting called negative then or whatever. But when you see the signs, just call it out. Don't be like just because it's early, or cool, we'll give it time or whatever. If you continue to give it time and not put any pressure on it, your signs are just going to come into even more. It's just going to get even worse. The signs that you're seeing, you're not seeing them for no reason if you're just watching football with your eyes. Exactly. We watch football with our eyes. That's it. We don't watch it on a stat sheet. Don't watch it on SofaScore and all that.
Exactly. And what annoys me is people back the manager and then 90 minutes later they'll want him out. What changed in that 90-minute game that you didn't see 5 games ago, 10 games ago, 15 games? That's what pisses me off. I remember under Frank Lampard in 2020, people were defending him. We lost 3-1 at Arsenal, and all of a sudden people wanted him gone. And I'm like, why? I've wanted him gone since he came in, and I was told that I'm not a real Chelsea fan. but we lose to Arsenal, and all of a sudden that's the big bad result. We got battered 4-0 by Ollie's Man United team in Lampard's first game, and no one said anything.
Yeah, just because
Yeah.
it was his
But
first
now,
game.
like, and that's the problem. Like, people, when you speak, you're negative, but all of a sudden, people start to realize what you're saying. But they won't apologize. They'll still say you're negative.
Yeah, it was like you wanted this to happen because we called it out. No,
Exactly. They'll
Because
say, "Are you
everybody
happy?"
waited for this.
And also,
They'll
this
say,
is
"Are
what
you
confuses
happy?"
me.
No, I'm not.
Prime. Yeah, go ahead, Prime. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, they'll say, "Well, this is what you wanted." Yeah, are you happy? No, I'm not happy that I'm right because my team is shit. I'm not
Yeah,
happy.
I want to be proven wrong. See, that's what a lot of these people who are in this YouTube space don't understand. They think that these people like Northside, like Lee Gunner, like Flawless, like Saeed, like even you, right? Mike, you, Prime, you, Josh. When you are critical about your club, people think, oh, these guys are only doing this to basically get a lot of clout. No. Go see. Do you realize some of the biggest YouTubers, the biggest Arsenal YouTubers, right, who got like 100,000 subscribers? Go see how they get 100,000 subscribers on their channels. Go ahead and check, right?
yeah.
Go see what those people are talking about. They're always doing the prop thing. Like you saw recently on Northside's stream, right? He was calling out Babs, right? Who's always kissing up to the Arsenal teams, right? Basically just doing this whole, prop thingy, right? And at the end of the day, that guy has, I don't even know how many subscribers because I'm not subscribed to people like that. But I'm sure he's got like 100,000 subscribers, or at the least like 50,000 subscribers. Because at the end of the day, that is what when you do this whole let's be positive, let's all be friends, let's all be positive, let's do this, let's just be delusional and stuff like that. You get noticed, right? That's how the sponsorship deals come. This is why you see some of these. Notice it, right? You see it, Prime. You see it all the time when you're watching some of these YouTubers, right? Who go to talk to these, go to these stadiums of like the teams that they support and all of this. What do you think that those people are doing on their YouTube channels? Do you think those people are calling out their clubs? No, they don't.
No.
They're always doing the prop thing, right? And at the end of the day, this is why when people call us in this kind of space cloud chasers, it's like no. If we were cloud chasers, we'll be doing what those people are doing. You understand what I'm saying? Because that is what brings views to our channels when we're sitting there speaking the narrative. But that's not what we're doing. We're doing the opposite. We're going against the narrative. We're sitting here saying, you can tell us, oh, this is why this manager should stay. No, we're sitting there saying, well, this is the reason why he shouldn't stay, because guess what? We are watching the games. Forget about the FA Cup. I'm sorry. If we're going to use the FA Cup thing, this is why I don't listen to the whole FA Cup nonsense. Because wasn't Van Gaal an FA Cup winner when he got sacked? He won the FA Cup and he got sacked.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, people wanted him gone. A lot of people wanted Van Gaal gone. He won the FA Cup and they still wanted him gone. So why is it that the energy is not the same for Ten Hag? I don't want to hear it.
Everyone's letting the standard slip now because there's not much pressure now. There's so much more divided opinion now because there's so many more people putting their 2 cents into football. So there's so much more divide. Like that was actually some form of standard then to sack a manager that's literally just won an FA Cup. Like players had found out that he was leaving on that day. That was some form of standard.
Yeah, and people think and also a manager being sacked, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like it happens. Ancelotti is one of the greatest managers of all time. He's been sacked a bunch of times. It's not that bad. It is what it is. It happens as part of football. You don't become a proper manager, I guess, until you get sacked, really, because that happens. Big deal. Move on. Like, imagine if we had the same level of standard for players. Oh, you know what? Chelsea shouldn't go get another striker. Let's just use Kai Havertz. Like, what logic is that? Because the next striker we bring on could also flop, so we might as well keep him. Like, what does that make sense? It's stupid.
It's also like there's a problem with like in our fan base, well, not even in our fan base, but what the people like to put together is because I didn't like the previous manager, I must back this manager. And because I've criticised this manager, I clearly liked the previous manager before. But you've just made it in your head an agenda thing of I've got a Moyes agenda versus I've got a Lopetegui agenda. I was both of them out because I have no loyalty towards anyone for this club. You play for the
Oh,
club that I support. You play for
because
the club
that's
I
how they think, bro. The people who,
yeah.
like at Chelsea, people who were defending Poch, they're now gonna say, "Oh, if Maresca slips up, he has to go." But
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
not
exactly.
fair
See,
because
this is the thing.
you defended like for me with Poch, I
Mhm.
never wanted him. I didn't rate
Mhm.
him, but I at least even after
Give him
that
a chance.
Liverpool lineup, I saw Cobwell as a touchline left back, Chilwell as a left winger. I at least
Mhm.
said I'll give you the 10 games because Fergie always says you can't judge the table until 10 games. I'll give you 10 games
Okay.
before things get bad. We lost to Man United, I think, by the 10th game, the worst Man United side we've ever seen. All of a sudden, you have to go now. But people are saying I'm doing agendas. The players are young, they're inexperienced. You can't blame Poch. He didn't get back properly.
Mm.
No, sometimes you can see things early. The
See
same
things
way,
early. Exactly.
same way when you meet a girl, sometimes you can tell she's just no good. But no, you're going to stick with her. You're going to be with her for 3 years. She's going to steal your money. She'll cheat on you. No, I'm not doing that, bro. I can tell.
See, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. I've always
It's a great
said this
example.
a lot, right? No, but it's the perfect example, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
if you
it's
think,
fun.
if you really deep it, right? At the end of the day, if you're dating a girl and this girl is showing you red flags every single
Mm.
time, but you sit there and
Yeah.
say, "Oh, but don't worry, he has a good quality, or she's pretty good looking." Okay, you're just gonna gloss over the fact that this lady has a bad attitude. He has a
Mm.
tendency of cheating. He has a
Mm,
tendency of stealing from his men and all of these stuff. You're gonna forget all of that because now she's pretty. All right, no problem. Guess what? If you get cheated on, if you get your shit stolen or any of this stuff, that's on you.
Mm.
And that's the same
exactly.
thing. It applies in
Look,
football
I
as
said
well.
you want to break up with her in 3 years, but she's still pretty in 3 years' time. So what's the difference? She's
Yeah,
still
innit?
pretty.
And it's the same thing because you know what's funny? If Ten Hag stays this season and he goes on and scumbags an FA Cup or a League
He'll
Cup,
win the.
guess what?
He'll
The
win the.
same
If he
manager.
stays, win the Carabao or not
Yeah,
Carabao, the Europa League. Like if he stays the
yeah.
whole season,
If he
I
wins,
think.
if he wins the Europa League, guess what? The same fans will say, "Oh, but look at these 3 seasons. He's won the Carabao Cup, he's
Yeah.
won the FA Cup, and the Europa League. Guess what is gonna
Yeah.
be next, guys? The league title is next." But listen, man, we talked about United enough, guys. Listen, let's finally get to the final one. Josh,
Ah.
I know you
Oh
probably thought
man.
I'm sure you thought that you were going to escape, but unfortunately, we need to talk about it.
Wait, no, wait.
Oh,
First of all, I need to know, like, are you like a logical Arsenal fan or are you like an egal? I need to know before I speak because I don't want to be rude. I need to know.
Hey, I'll let him
nah,
answer, Josh.
for me, I call myself logical because I ain't seen
Good,
my club
good,
win it.
good.
I'm 17, bro. I've not seen my club win a league title. And
You're
at the end
you're
of the day, right?
17.
Yeah, I'm 17. I've not seen my club. We've gone 20 years, right, winning a
Damn.
league title, right? We've gone 5 years, right, winning an FA Cup. Yeah, I want to see some success at Arsenal at the end of the day. And listen, like you got these fans, like with all due respect to a gal, lapping up that we're finishing runners up 2 years in a row and winning nothing. So at the end of the day, people need to demand more because the standards are in the gutter with Arsenal, and it has been like this for many, many years, right? Like we moved to Emirates to apparently compete with like the European elite, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, and all this. And look at us, all we've won is a few FA Cups in that time.
Mm.
It's not good enough. So yeah, listen, for me, tonight's performance, bro, absolute shambles. But the crazy thing is, it's just the same old Arsenal. Like last season, this is carbon copy from Fulham 2-1. It's these
Mm.
types of games where we look back on and we say, well, this is what went wrong then. It's these types of games where we look back on and it's like, oh, that's why if buts and maybes, if only we beat Fulham last season, if only beat Aston Villa last season, and it's going to be the same with these types of teams. And you know what the crazy thing is? Like, this has been coming in the past couple of games if you look at Arsenal because Southampton, too complacent. Yeah, and we conceded. We found ourselves 1-0 down to Southampton. By the way, yeah, we came back and we got the win. Cool. Leicester 2-0 up, 2-2, just like that. So these have been a few warning signs this season that this type of performance, if we're not careful, and if we're taking these teams lightly, and if we're underestimating these opponents, and if we're, being too complacent, we will get, found out. And today was shambolical from the start to finish. Even dismissing the 10 men, that first half an hour was so cagey, and it was so poor, so slow, so sloppy. And firstly, like, credit where credit shoes at Bournemouth, by the way, because they came there, well organised manager, had them work very high pressing. They was always going to be good on the counter attack. I think they had the highest sort of quickest counter attacking team so far this Premier League. So we had to watch out for that today. So credit where credit shoes to them, because they deserve this 100%. But the lineup, never play that midfield again of Mikel
Bro,
Merino, Partey,
that
and Declan
midfield.
Rice.
Let's talk about that midfield,
Bro,
Moreno, Rice, and Partey. Like, seriously, zero creativity in
no
that
creativity, bro. No
Why was-
creativity, yeah.
What I was just want to say, like,
Yeah.
Marino was in Erdegaard's, like always in Erdegaard's position. Like, that's what was mad to me. Like, he was put
bro.
on the right centre mid, like right in that. I was like, why is he there? He should be on that left, and like someone else there.
That's
Like,
what I'm
Wanyeri was
saying.
meant to be hyped up as like the depth.
Bro,
He got through to the
it's-
dogs
bro.
after 2-0, man. I feel sorry for the kid, man.
Bro,
Yeah.
I'm saying, bro, this 1 year kid, right? I've been hearing about this kid for so long. And this is the perfect time to give the kid a chance. Nobody would have a problem with you giving the player a chance. But that midfield, when I saw that midfield, I was like, bro, that's what you know what? I said you were gonna win. When I saw that midfield, I was like, yeah, this guy might just gonna end in a draw. I was actually being too nice.
It was looking like a 0-0 when it was 11-11. It was looking like.
And then Saliba's red
Facts.
card was absolutely ridiculous.
Nah, it was,
Like-
bro. Nah,
Yeah.
bro.
Dude.
That red cards, yeah. I'm gonna start with Trossard for that anyway, because
Yeah, trust
you know,
bro.
like, what is he doing playing it? He's lost the ball, yeah. Completely played it backwards. It's like he's played Evan Nilsson through on goal. Yeah, like the ball over the top was mad. It was like, what are you doing, Trossard? And then Saliba, and you know what? Saliba, I thought, was probably one of our best players before the red card. He was having a solid game as usual, because it's he's Saliba. And then it's just stupidity from him. Like, and you got fans out there trying to, paper over cracks. Once again, looking at referees, looking at VAR, saying, "Oh, we were robbed." No, we weren't robbed,
Bro,
people. We weren't robbed,
listen.
man.
It's
I'm
this
glad you
mutants,
said
bro. It's this mutants, bro. We already know who they are. These
Exactly,
mutants
Omar,
on Twitter, man. Trying to sit there and talk about, bro. At the end of the day, anyone with eyes who saw that red card, I'm sorry. I know Trossard is to blame. He should take most of the blame. However, when it comes to Saliba, right? It's literally in the middle of the pitch. You know you can still recover and get the ball back without necessarily having to do a tackle like that. Because you're fast. Evan Nilsson is not a fast player. You can reach him by the time he gets to the box, right? But you committing that foul in that side of the area, it was always going to be a red card. The moment you saw it's kind of like the Kudus one where he was given a yellow card, but you saw that if that thing went to VAR, it was GG's. And it's the same thing here, where when it was given a yellow card, I was like, bro, if VAR checks this, he's getting checked, he's getting taken off. You saw it. The moment that the referee went to check VAR, you were like, he's off. He's off.
Facts.
And at the end of the day, even with 10 men, like you mentioned, right, the capitulation from the team. And listen, don't get it twisted, the whole lineup was completely messed up, right? I understand benching Saka. I even was one of the people yesterday when I was with Northside where I was saying Saka should be rested because he did have an injury during the game against Greece, right? So play Sterling. That's why you got in Sterling, right? But when I saw that midfield, I was like, my days, bro. Who is gonna be the guy who's gonna create in that attack? Because Trossard is not a good creative player. Sterling is not gonna create. Havertz is definitely not gonna create. So there's no midfielders. So where's your creativity gonna come from in this team? And we saw it completely starved of any kind of creativity. And I said this to you. We were yesterday when we were on Honest Rivals mics. I said that this game for Arsenal is going to be tough. I said they would win, but I said it was going to be tough because we've seen Bournemouth play at home. Prime, you played them earlier this season. Yeah, you guys won, but you guys had to work for that win. You guys had to work for that win.
And I thought with Arsenal that they would, when I saw the lineup, I saw no creativity. They've got just a bunch of like tall players. I thought they'd just nick it on a set piece. That they would sit deep, defend, and fight pressure on, and just play for a set piece win. And even when they went 1-0 down, they went down to 10 men. I was on Lewis's stream, and I kept saying, Arsenal will be fine. They'll get a draw. They'll nick it. They'll get a draw. They'll be fine. But then going down 2-0, like it's it was just it shouldn't be that bad against a Bournemouth, particularly when you're supposed to be one of the best teams in the league. It shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, facts. At the end of the day, right, this manager decided to take off. We had no pace either. Like, he took off Sterling, right? When Sterling, for me, he's such. I mean, you'll know this prime watching him at Chelsea, yeah. And I'm not going to judge him yet because he's played 2 starts, yeah. He's had 2 starts, but he's a frustrating player to watch already at Arsenal, right? But at least that guy's got a bit of pace about him, man. Like, keep him there, take off Trossard, get on Martinelli earlier. And the subs that he waited 10. Why wait 10 minutes? Why wait till we're 2-0 down to then decide to bring on? Yeah, have a run out for 10 minutes, Wanyeri. Have a run out, Jesus. Like, they should have been your subs straight away at half time, change the things around. Yeah, the game was still there at 0-0. We could have still gone on. And as you said, maybe nicked a 1-0. We would have took that all day long at the end of the day.
Yeah,
but
it's just like against Tottenham. Basically,
yeah,
just
facts.
like,
Just get a set piece. Yeah, we know. And you see, do you know, all our players are 6 foot in that lineup, apart from Trossard and Sterling. How do we not
cross
even
the
score
ball
set
into the
piece?
box, man? Seriously,
Bro,
you could literally just.
it's
Yeah,
mental,
bro.
man.
And you conceded a set piece as well, which is weird.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
mad. That was a
bro,
good set piece, though. It was a good
That
set piece.
quality goal, yeah, fantastic goal. But defensively, the guy's just, I think Christie, just there to run into the box. No one's picking him up. Just let him run into the box, have a free shot, and it's 1-0 Bournemouth just like that. And I think after that, it was obviously that Kiwior came on, gave away that awful back pass, and they got the penalty, and then he got subbed back off. I don't know if you guys remember watching Arsenal Nottingham Forest, FA Cup a few years ago. Arteta did the same thing with Tavares, right? He played 20 minutes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
An awful game. He got
The
subbed
4-2.
off. No, 1-0.
The 1-0.
Oh, the one. Oh, yeah, the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 1-0.
He was having an awful game. He got subbed off in the first 20 minutes, and after that, he was never seen since. Like, the guy's confidence was just destroyed, and it's going to be the same with Kiwior. Like, the guy had a good game against PSG, but I don't know what he was smoking when he came off that bench today, and getting subbed back off. His confidence is ruined now. But at the end of the day, that was an embarrassment. From start to finish. And as I said, credit shoot to Bournemouth because they start really well. I think they'll do well this season as well with their manager, very organised manager. But that is, for me, an absolute embarrassment. And not other than Thomas Partey, other than Partey, nobody else can come out on that pitch and hold their head up higher tonight. Yeah, it was absolutely. It's just like we just look lost out there, and Arteta looked lost as well in terms of his tactics, in terms of his substitutions, in his decision making as well. And ultimately, that's another game. I mean, we dropped points for Brighton this season. We obviously lost to Bournemouth now, and the run we got coming up, Liverpool on Sunday. No Saliba against Liverpool on Sunday, right? Timber's doubtful. We might have to play Zinchenko. Don't even get me started about Zinchenko. Fucking Bart Simpson. Do not get me started about him against Salah. Yeah,
I'm sure Prime is looking forward to that, man. Seeing Zinchenko back in the squad again. Oh my god,
brother! If Timber's not fit, we are cooked, bro. Yeah, defensively we are cooked. Yeah, because he's either going to do one or two things. He's either going to play Calafiori to right back because we did it against PSG, and he's going to play Kiwior left back against Salah, or he's going to go with Zinchenko left back because we've got no one else.
If he plays Zinchenko against Salah, you guys are cooked.
He played Calafiori right back against PSG.
Yeah,
in the second half, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Why?
It's mad.
Took Timber for Kiwior.
Timber for Kiwior half time. Yeah, that was it. Because I think Timber, was carrying injury, so then Kiwior came on, and then he switched him left back, put him right back. So he'll do the same if Timber's out again. And obviously we've got no Saliba. It's just it's kind of mad, man. It's gonna be, but even if because it'd be so typical Arsenal to lose this game and then go and put off a masterclass against Liverpool and probably end up beating them now. But even after that, we've got Champions League games in between.
Yeah,
Inter
you're
away.
playing
Oh,
Inter
San
away.
Siro.
But
Yo.
that's the week after. To be fair, I would say this in the Champions League against Shakhtar, Saliba will be back. But I do believe that not having Saliba against Liverpool would be very costly. And just like you mentioned, with all the injuries that you guys have, if he plays Zinchenko in that game, I'm telling you, bro, it's gonna be a long 90 minutes for you guys, bro.
We're gonna get
And look,
cooked.
you guys have had your issues, but however, this is the thing. You just we always mention, right? When it comes to Arsenal, it's kind of the similar thing where I call out United, where I basically say that at the end of the day, you guys got rid of all your number tens. You sold Smith Rowe, you loaned out Vieira, and you
Vieira,
didn't actually
yeah.
go out and buy a midfielder at number 10.
Mm.
That was on you, right?
Facts.
And now Odegaard is injured. You have no midfielders. And the midfielder, the only number 10 that you guys have in your club, he's too young and your manager doesn't trust him. And this is
Exactly.
where we always come back to. When it comes to Arsenal, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. When it comes to Arsenal, it's always this. Arsenal always start the season well, especially for the last 3 seasons. We've seen the club start well. It's when it comes down to those crunch games around
Yeah.
the end of the season, that's when we're like, all right, show us what you can do. And then for some reason, every single year, it always happens. You always fall at the end.
Oh.
Why is that? It's because, first of all, you guys don't have any clinical goal scorers. Don't talk to me about Kai Havertz. Don't talk to me about Jesus. Don't talk to me about India. I don't care how many goals they score. You need a 20-goal a season striker like City have.
Yeah.
City have a
Yep.
30-goal. City have a 30-goal a season striker. Liverpool have a 20-goal a season forward in what's his name? Salah, right?
Yeah.
Chelsea don't have a 20-goal a season striker, but what they do have
Is
is
Palmer and Nkunku.
Palmer. Nkunku, yes, Palmer scored 20 goals last season.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand what I'm
Yep.
saying, right?
Yeah. Facts.
That is what those teams have. You don't have that.
It's
Saka,
not even
Saka-
just that. Arsenal lack like they lack mavericks, X factors, people who will
there you go.
turn up in
Facts.
big games, get you over the line. Because sometimes you need that. You as a big sides, they don't always dominate every game. Sometimes they struggle, but you need someone like an Hazard that can just turn a game, drag you over the line, like a Sanchez, like a
Yeah.
Bale.
Alexis, man.
You need someone who just out of nothing will pull something off, and then you win the game 1-0 when you shouldn't.
Mm.
You
You
need
see that?
if Arsenal had like a Sanchez today, you probably
Facts.
get out of the game with a 2-2 draw, and all of a sudden it's not that bad. You know,
Yeah.
the Arsenal need that. They really need that.
That
Yes,
was
and
the last
also-
player we had was Alexis to give you
Yeah.
that type of X
And
factor.
Aubameyang, like
Yeah,
if you-
Bamian, exactly.
Yeah,
We've
man.
we've
Bro,
not
imagine.
replaced him, Omar. We've not
Yeah,
replaced him.
facts,
I mean,
you
we
have-
brought in Jesus, yeah? Jesus,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why his highest goal tally he's ever got is about 14, 15 goals. The guy's not a clinical goal scorer. He
He's
really
not.
isn't.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
it's like,
Well,
Omar,
well.
remember when I think after the first game of the season on Steve's channel, remember
Yeah.
I said Arsenal's next 3 away games that they would get 7 from 9 against Villa, Spurs, and City, and
Yes,
you
you
were
did.
confused, and I said because this stage in the season quite early, Arsenal there's no pressure, so they'll be, and they got
They'll be
they beat
relaxed.
Villa, they beat Spurs,
They'll be-
they beat they should have beat City.
Mhm.
It was quite a relaxed atmosphere. But like you were saying, crunch end of the season when it matters, can they go to Etihad and win? Can they go to Anfield? Can they go to the Bridge? Can they go to Villa Park? Can they go to these stadiums and win? No. When it truly matters, can they turn it on? And also against the lesser sides, because you went to Villa Park, you went to the Etihad, you should have won. But yeah, against Bournemouth, you guys get outclassed. Like that doesn't for a team that's trying to win the league, that should not be happening at all.
Yeah,
facts.
you know, we saw that like lack of X factor the most. Like going back to that right hand side where I thought, but like I put my hands up. I thought Saka was going to do the whole typical thing. I'm back now because I faked an injury, international injury, because Arteta probably told me to or whatever. I thought that was going to happen because that's what big clubs will usually do and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But when I saw the right hand side of Marino, Sterling, and called Ben White. I didn't even know Timber was injured as well. I was like, okay, all right. I still think they'll get over the line, but it's going to look ugly. But I didn't know Marino was going to be on that right-hand side. But also, that right-hand side is usually Odegaard, Saka, and White. They usually work very well together. Usually can find them triangles and whatever. But it feels like Arteta's really relying on a certain 11 and doesn't really have a plan B outside of the players he really, really trusts. It's like he doesn't want a squad, but he wants to go for only 2 competitions. Like, the problem is, like, with Arsenal as well, you're always like so close. It's always like when it's really, really under pressure, you never ever get it. You always start well.
Always start well because there's no pressure.
Yeah, exactly. But like, that's the thing as well. Do you know what I've noticed the past 2 seasons, like this season and last season, where even you started well, you haven't performed well. It's like even when like if you guys remember the Palace away, the Nottingham Forest at home, when you guys started last season, you guys were scrapping to get over the line. And you guys were scrapping to get over the line. Like it felt like you were doing a whole 1-0 to Arsenal thing, right? Like it felt like you thought the business end of the season was the start of the season. But at the business end of the season, cool, you lost 1 game and you guys actually went on a good run. But still, when it mattered the most, and you lost against Aston Villa at home, like you guys got to at least put some form of like things together. Like when you go on a run of games, a lot of good performances in the first half of the season to give you that confidence, to give you that boost. And there is no winter break this year for you guys to get a break and then recover and then go again, you know. So it's going to be interesting to see how you tackle the schedule, because I feel like that's the difference between you and Liverpool and City. Liverpool have the group of players that are used to that. They might not have the depth or like certain profiles that they may need. I still think they need a couple of players to see if they want to properly challenge, but City have the players to get that are used to that. And we don't know if they're going to do anything in January anyway, but even if they don't do anything in January to solve the whole Rodri situation, they'll still be confident in what they have because of the experience of the know-how as well. And the thing is, I feel like sometimes it takes a toll on a lot of your players. Like I feel like Saka's really feeling a lot of work he's put in over the seasons, where it's a bit dangerous as well, because his career could end earlier because of the amount of games he's playing. Because he started at a young age, he has to take on a responsibility, and he's had to play all these games very early at a time where Arsenal weren't great, so he had to step up, and he played a lot of games. He became a key player, and this is the kind of like the repercussions of that. And it's going to happen with the same for your other players as well. And your other players are going to look like Gabriel, Saliba, for example, like all these players that have turned up. If you guys don't win the league again, they're going to look like, well, when are we going to win the league? Can we go again?
Like Saliba, Ramage wants Saliba. Like he's going to go there if we don't win. If we don't start winning.
No, if you don't win anything this season, he's gone.
He's gone. He's gone to it's Madrid. Yeah, he's gone. I'm sorry,
bro. Madrid have Rudiger, who's in his 30s. Alaba, who looks like he's probably going to retire due to injury. Who else do they have, bro? That's Militao.
Militao,
right?
He's injury prone, isn't he?
And no, but that's the thing. So you're looking at it. They're looking for a centre back. And you just mentioned it, right? At the end of the day, Saliba is one of the best defenders in the world. And he's not going to stick around for a club that is not winning trophies. That's a fact, bro. That is for every club in the world. It doesn't matter if you're Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, whoever you are, bro. If you're not winning the trophies that matter, if you're not challenging for Europe, Champions Leagues, and trophies like that, the players are going to leave.
And that's what happened with Spurs, by the way.
Yeah,
because I compare this Arsenal team so much to Spurs or under Poch, because they were doing well, challenging, whatever, didn't win anything, and then all of a sudden, Dembele left, Eriksen left the Inter, Walker went to Man City, and then other players aged out. Alderweireld, he got older and aged out. Vertonghen, he aged out. Eric Dyer stopped being good enough. They didn't replace Danny Rose, so they had to use Ben Davis. Like, all this stuff happened, and then all of a sudden, this great team you had, it's gone, and it's gone. It's only a few years of quote-unquote greatness, and Arsenal could be the same thing. Saliba will go Real Madrid, Martinelli will go PSG, Saka will probably stay, and then certain players will age out or fall off a cliff, and all of a sudden, you're now having the bare bones of what you once had, and then it's gone. So that's why you have to win. You have to capitalize off of what you have, or else it's just, bro. I know you're shaking your head, but I'm just saying it's true. Like Spurs fans, still talk about how great they were under Poch, but my response is, you didn't win anything. The same thing with Arteta. It's a great squad. All these metrics of the best defense in the league. Spurs had the same metrics. There was
Yeah,
a point with
facts.
Spurs
Yep.
over the
Yeah.
course of 2-3 seasons. They were the best team in the league. Goals scored, goals conceded, points tally, every single metric. They were the best team, but they didn't win a single thing. A single thing. And I remember Arsenal finishing sixth, and they won the FA Cup. And Arsenal fans said we had a better season because we won the FA Cup. We won a
Because
trophy.
they won the FA Cup. Exactly. They used to throw Tottenham
now-
fans for this. But now it's like the same thing that United is doing to them, and they don't like it. No,
Mm.
give the same energy, because at the end of the day, you guys were doing the same thing to Spurs. When you were winning, when they were finishing second behind Chelsea, and then Chelsea were going to lose the FA Cup to Arsenal that same season. Guess what? Arsenal fans were sitting there saying, we had a better season than you, Tottenham. Guess what? We
Facts.
brought a trophy home. You didn't bring a trophy home. So now, when United fans are doing that, these shameless Arsenal fans are sitting there trying to basically say, how dare you say this? And no. Football is about winning. Football is
Yeah.
about winning. I even said
Spot
this.
on, bro.
The season that you guys won the Conference League, people say, they asked me, yo, who had the better season? I said straight up, United. When it comes between West Ham and Arsenal, I said West Ham had a better season. Why? They won a trophy. I don't care if
won.
it's the Conference League. They won a trophy. That is what
Yeah.
matters. Trophies matter at the end of the season, right? At the end of the day, when I said this before, I said last season, right? People who is a better manager? People ask me between Unai Emery and Arteta. I say Unai Emery, and people ask me, when people ask me, I'm like, first of all, let's look at what is Emery's. What is Arteta's greatest accomplishment? Winning the FA Cup in his first season with
Yeah.
Unai Emery's team, by the way. Unai Emery's team, right? Okay, but what is his most successful thing he's done so far since finish in the top four, finish second behind City 2 times in a row? All right, cool. Well, if we're putting it that way, then let's look at it this way. Let's look at it this way. Finishing second means that you finish top 4. There's no trophies for finishing second, right? The only trophy you
Facts.
get is finishing top 4. If that is the case, then guess what? Aston Villa finished top 4. So what is the difference between the season you had and the season they had? What? Because you challenged for the league? No, you challenged for the league, but you didn't win it. So at the end
Yeah.
of the day, you won the same amount as they did.
Yep.
And the difference is this: Unai Emery has proven to be a winner. He's won the Europa League with Villarreal, right? He's won the Europa League with Villarreal, knocking Arsenal out in a
Bro,
in the
look at the squad
semi-finals
he
of
had as
Europa League.
well, Omar. He had a bunch of Spurs rejects. He had 140, he had 38, like Abio, yeah? Pensioner. He had
Capoue.
like Coquelin, mate, in the
Okay.
midfield. And
Capoue.
he's- Yeah, Capoue, man. Like the team he had, and he
And then the
literally,
following
bro.
season,
And he knocked us out, knocked out Arteta, beat Man United in the final. Then in the Champions League, he went on to get to the semi-final, which he should have really got to the final because he went 2-0 up against Liverpool, and he bottled it in the end. Yeah, but he knocked out Bayern Munich. Sorry to all the Bayern fans in the chat, but he dunked on you guys yet again.
Yeah, in the
And
Champions
with
League.
Villarreal. Yeah, with Villarreal. It's like, and I
Villarreal,
know what he's
exactly.
doing at Aston Villa, man. He's a quality manager. He's a serial winning NZ there. The amount of in Europe, he's unbelievable. Yeah, he's in Europa League. The amount of what he's done with Sevilla, Villarreal, but overall as a manager, like he's such a good tactician. And obviously at Arsenal, it's completely different to what Arteta's done at Arsenal compared to him. But you took an overall manager, well, obviously Emery.
Yeah.
You know,
Nah,
And
man, that's
you know,
that's
you know how, like, with United fans, you know how people can, even though I believe there's no defending Ten Hag, but you know the defense you can have for Ten Hag? We've won 2 trophies in the past 2 seasons. This
Mhm.
brilliant Arsenal team with Arteta and Ten Hag still managed to win trophies over you. That's embarrassing. Forget
That
not
is-
being able to beat, I understand you can't win the league over Pep. I'm not personally expecting Arsenal to win the league. I don't expect that. But I expect you to win a trophy. The same with Poch.
yes.
I expected something with that Spurs side. I didn't expect a title over Chelsea. I didn't expect that. That's crazy. But can you not win the Carabao Cup? Can you not win an FA
Yeah.
Cup? Can you not win something?
Yeah.
Bro, spot on, man. And this is the thing. Look at when Arteta goes in these competitions. Yeah, you do realize like last season, 3rd round exit to Liverpool, Carabao Cup. You man did us West Ham, yeah, 3-1, battered us
Yeah.
in that
there
game.
you go.
Season before that, yeah, the season before that, it was 4th round again in the Carabao Cup to Brighton. Yeah, FA Cup. It was Man City. Season before that, again, guess what? The same story. Getting knocked out in the early FA Cup to Southampton. Yeah, the same story. Ever since he's won the FA Cup, in 4 years in a row, he's been knocked out. He's not even made past the fourth round. Yeah, I get what people want to try and say.
Absolutely insane, bro.
You know, he's trying to prioritize the Premier League. He's trying to prioritize these other big competitions. Yeah. Oh, we're competing. Just be happy and all this, right? No, you got to win something. Yeah. He's gone trophyless for four, 5 seasons now. He spent a lot of money, this manager, and yeah, I give him credit for getting us back up there, 100%. Yeah, he's got us back competing. Yeah, where we belong. But you got to get over the line on Arteta now with the money you spent. Yeah, and it's no good finishing runners up. Because nobody who's going to remember Arsenal finishing runners up, years and years to come. It's like all about winning ends of the day. So, listen, I hate it when he does not take these competitions seriously, even a League Cup.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing, Josh. I think this is my biggest criticism of Arteta, and this is why I don't rate him. Right? I'm sorry. You as a manager, somebody's like, this is the same thing I used to criticize Pochettino for, where I was like, these managers, because they think they have a good team, they have this arrogance where they think that some trophies are beyond them. Like, you remember that Tottenham team, right? When they had that prime team in 2016, 2017, that team should have won a trophy. I'm not saying they should have won a big trophy, but that team was good enough to win a Carabao Cup. That team was good enough to win an FA Cup. If Arsenal could win an FA Cup, they should have been able to win an FA Cup. You understand what I'm saying? They should have been able to win a Europa League when they were in the Europa League. Look at them when they were in the Europa League. They were absolutely dreadful in the Europa League.
Yeah,
right?
Lost the sport.
At the end of the day, look at Arteta's record in Europe, right? When he was in the Europa League, his first season in the Europa League, he lost to Olympiacos after going 1-0 up, coming back to the Emirates, and then losing. Right? And then his second season, he plays against Villarreal, right? A Villarreal team where, let's remember that Villarreal game. They lost 2-1 at the Villarreal stadium. Guess what? They went to the Emirates. Bro, you guys drew that game, but let's be very real, bro. You guys were even lucky to draw that game. I remember watching that game. I remember they had 15 shots to your 5? And you were the home team.
You
needed one goal to reach the final.
You needed one goal to go through, bro.
Go through to the final, and you couldn't even do that. You couldn't even. You barely
against the ex-manager as well, by the way, who we sacked for not being good enough.
Yeah, you know the other problem I find with this is also two things. I'm not just saying this for the sake of it. Some people we would talk about players that are going to get. This is going to take a toll on them. Someone like a Declan Rice, for example, even said went to Arsenal to win trophies. He always wanted to make the next step from West Ham to win trophies or whatever, and he won a trophy with us. But also, we're talking about mentality. Man City, they targeted the Carabao Cup first to give them that winning mentality. This is what it feels like to be a serious team, to go on all fronts, and we target the Carabao Cup. And once they were comfortable winning the Carabao Cup 3 or 4 times in a row, they were like, we don't care anymore. We've got that mentality. We're going to go for everything else. We'll go for the FA Cup, League, and Champions League. Arteta hasn't done that. He hasn't set that pace off where it's like the FA Cup there's been a big gap between you winning the FA Cup and then you being a top 4 team, then going on to be a title challenging team where you haven't taken a trophy serious in that season. There's a big gap in between those. So even with the fact that you win the FA Cup, you would have had to win that Europa League to keep that mentality up. To then go into that season of being in the top 4, trying to target the FA Cup again. And then you could be like, okay, we're title challenger now. We know what it feels like to win trophies every season. And we feel like we're comfortable enough to open up most teams. We're now in a title challenge. Now, we know we're capable of winning a trophy. Let's try and do it in league form. That's why people like Pep are serial winners. And also, the best managers you don't even talk about the fact that they get sacked or anything if they win a lot. Now, Arteta, for example, if he gets sacked now, some Arsenal fans may be like, well, thank you for what you've done. You brought us from 8th to a title challenger team. And I would understand that to an extent, but you're Arsenal. It's not like you're some small club or anything. You guys have got a lot of history. You guys have got a history of winning trophies as well. And there's a lot of Arsenal fans that are older that are used to winning trophies. And they'll be like, well, what did you really do? You got us to a place where we were complaining about already. We've won to the league for years. There's fans like that are going to get sick of it easily.
Particularly when Arsenal fans speak about Arteta being this elite manager, he's second to Pep, he's generational. We've got a world-class squad, world-class players in every position. When you start talking like that, that's when I then
It is.
start like, because
I don't mean to interrupt you, Prime. Do you
yeah,
remember when they were doing the Real Madrid Arsenal
exactly, it's stuff like
combined
that.
plan?
Oh my
Like,
days.
listen, when you want to speak like a big club or you're a big team, then we treat you like a big team and we overanalyze everything.
Yeah.
The reason why
Facts.
Poch's Spurs team I didn't overanalyze and expect titles was because I don't treat Spurs like a big club, so I don't care.
There you go.
And I also don't treat Arsenal like a big club necessarily. But if we want to speak like that and put them in conversations with Real Madrid and Man City, then let's treat them the same way we treat Real Madrid if they went 4 or 5 years without a title. Let's treat them in the same aspect. Let's treat them the same way we treat Pep if he didn't win the league this season. Let's treat them in that same vein. But when we do that, all of a sudden we hate Arsenal. You can't have it both ways. You can't say we're the best team, but then when I expect the standards of the best team, all of a sudden, like we're being toxic and we're hating on Arsenal. No, it's not hating. As much as I don't like Arsenal fans. I really rate this Arsenal team. I think you're good enough to win. But the problem is your manager. And
There
it's
you
shown
go.
today. A man down against Bournemouth and you're sitting back and you're bringing on a centre back. It's embarrassing.
Absolute
Damn.
joke. But yeah, man.
Bro,
At the end of the day,
absolute
that's really it. When you look at Arsenal, right? At the end of the day, this Arsenal team is basically the same Arsenal team for the last 2 seasons, and they've done the same start that they've done the last 2 seasons. So the conscious Arsenal fans are looking at this and saying, I feel like I've been here before.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, I am not going to fall for this again. And then you have those delusional Arsenal fans who are sitting there saying, this season's going to be different. Kai Havertz looks different this season. Oh, have you seen how Declan Rice has been playing this season? Oh, Saliba has gone to another level this season. Oh, Gabriel is one of the most underrated centre backs in the world. Oh, we have the best defense in the world. At the end of the day, all of these things you're mentioning, it doesn't mean anything if you don't bring a trophy home. And this is the talk. You can say whatever you want, but I've always said this every single time. Big clubs go for the big trophies. There's a reason why when in 2019 Prime, right? When you guys finished in the top 4, right? And you were in the Europa League final. Arsenal needed to win the Europa League to get into Champions League. They prioritized the Europa League. They didn't expect that Chelsea were going to prioritize that final because you guys already sealed the 4. Because they thought, because you guys had already sealed the 4, you wouldn't have cared about the Europa League, right? But they didn't realize that at that time, you guys were a club who wanted trophies. It wasn't just about winning. It wasn't just about finishing top 4. It was about winning, bringing a trophy home. And that's why when you guys...
What people didn't... Going into that Europa League final, we had injuries to some of our best players. There was disputes going on in training, people fighting with like Sarri and the players and stuff like that. But people need to remember, like, we had title winners in that team.
Bro,
that
Hazard, Pedro,
David Luiz,
Willian, David Luiz.
Title winners, people who have been on bigger and better stages. So a Europa League final is nothing for us.
Yep.
It's not something that we need to focus our Arsenal. Like, they flew in early, they prepared, they had a parade ready. They did everything, but on the day they didn't turn up. And what's funny is Arsenal actually played well in the first half. They outclassed us in the first half, but in the second half they just fell apart.
Can I ask a question here, right? Am I correct in stating that the last 2 times that Chelsea were in the Europa League, they won the thing, right?
Yeah.
Because they were in the Europa League in 2018, 2019, and they won it. And then they were and they got knocked out in the group stages in the 2013 season, and they went to the Europa League and won the thing. So they've been in the Europa League 2 times, and they've won it 2 times.
We were unbeaten last time as well on the
And see, that's the thing, right? See, there's the problem.
Mentality.
When it comes to Arteta, when Klopp was managing Liverpool, Klopp didn't just go for the league title on head on. The season that they finished 97 points and lost only 1 game the whole season, right? That season, they went on to win the Champions League.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they won.
And they won the Champions League. And that idea of winning is what actually spurred them on for the next season for what they would get the following season.
And
Like,
also, people need to remember the season before that, they got to the Champions League final and lost. The season before
there you go.
that, they
Yeah,
got to the Europa League final and lost. The season before that, they got to a domestic cup final and lost.
yeah.
So they were
They
Arsenal
were,
not doing that. Arsenal are,
that's
and
the thing.
I had this
Yeah.
argument with an Arsenal fan like before the season started, and he was trying to tell me that Klopp was losing, and I was saying, well, Klopp at least got to that stage. You're not getting to stages to lose. You're not getting to a semi-final and losing on penalties, or getting to a final and losing on a bad refereeing decision. You're getting knocked down early rounds. That's not. It's not. You know, like it's not impressive. Playing one game a week for the most part and finishing second in the title race is not impressive because when Chelsea were winning titles, we were doing our best to try and win every trophy we possibly can. That's what Man City are doing. That's what Man United used to do. Arsenal are not doing that now. You're getting knocked out early to play one game a week, and then you're still not winning the title, so you have nothing to show for the season, barring progress. Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, there we go. But at the end of the day, this whole Arsenal thing, at the end of the season, we'll see. We'll see. At the end of the day, I've already stated my opinion when it comes to Arteta. I think that if he doesn't win a trophy this season, he should be sacked for the sake of
Agreed.
Arsenal. For the sake of Arsenal, they need to sack him at the end of the season because at the end of the day, you don't have 5 seasons, and the only thing of note that you've done in your 5 years is finish. It is to win an FA Cup in your first in your half a season with a team that wasn't even yours. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But listen, man, we're gonna move forward, right? Very quickly, guys. Did you guys watch some of the games today? Obviously, we saw earlier today Aston Villa actually won away against Fulham. Did you guys, did any of you catch the game?
Saw the
Pretty
Quickly.
much
highlights.
Man United Brentford. Yeah, just saw Man United Brentford. So I didn't see any of the 3 o'clock
Okay.
games, but
Okay.
that
So
seems to be that seemed to be a bit chaotic because like there was a red card in pretty much nearly every game of
yeah,
this game. There's a few goals in these Premier League games. So as soon as I saw the 3 o'clock games, they all look quite box office, but
yeah.
it was like a bit most boring one in Man United Brentford. But
Yeah, and I saw also Newcastle actually lost at home to Brighton today.
Mm.
I did watch that game on Flawless stream. Shout out to Brighton. But also say this, a big up Flawless, man, big up Flawless every single time, man.
big up flawless.
Look at, yeah, man, getting a lot of love on my new show, man, the brand new show, man. Big up to everybody who's currently here. But yeah, as far as performances is concerned, right? Brighton, people have been sleeping on Brighton. I think they've actually had a good start to the season, and that
They're
manager
looking
up
good.
there
Yeah.
is a very, very good manager. I don't know. I'm swear to God, bro. I don't know how this club does this, because
Mm.
how did they found Dezebi, and then they ended up finding this guy as well. Like, bro, how
Do you
do
know,
they keep doing this every single time?
They're such
do you know
a
what they
good,
do?
well-run club, man.
Yeah, do you know what they do? Like,
Mm.
do you know as soon as their manager comes in, they try and find the next one. Like they do that straight away. Like as soon as the manager comes in, the director,
Mhm.
the one of the guys upstairs said that would they know that one way or another, because they're so confident in their appointment that they're going to get picked for by someone else. So they're already prepared on the candidates that are going to come up next. So
It's
it's that
absolutely,
fluid. Yeah, that's how
it's
they do it.
absolutely insane. But listen, very quickly to go back to that Aston Villa game. Where do you guys think Aston Villa are gonna finish this season?
Top
I
four
predicted.
again.
Yeah, I predicted fourth at the start of the season. Do you know why though? It's because I thought they would get out
Mm.
of the Champions League quite early, and then they focus on the Premier League again. But
Mm.
now I don't. Now I don't know because Emery's good in cup competition. So it kind of
Yeah.
depends how long they're in the Champions League for. Because I don't know whether they can take the 2 games a week sort of thing. But I
Mm.
think I think even if they're not finishing top four, they still in the Champions League. They'll be in a race still. Like it'll be from fourth to sixth. I don't think they'll finish anything anywhere less than sixth, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be honest. It's very
Yeah,
interesting
I
this
agree.
season. What about you, Prime? Where do you think
I
they're
think,
gonna finish?
yeah, I think um, the start of the season, I made the prediction that like Villa will struggle in the first half of the season until they get knocked out of the Champions League.
Mhm.
I said that they either won't make it out of the group or they'll get knocked out in the round of 16, and then they'll start to pick up in the league again. Because even though they've made good signings, I still don't think they have quality squad depth. So that's what I think will happen. But yeah, whether they'll finish top four, Chelsea have been better this season than I thought. So
Yeah, that's a
I don't
good
know.
point.
Listen, if Villa finish fifth or even sixth, I don't think it's a bad season.
No, of course not.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a very good season. I think
No,
people
of
need to
course not.
realize the context of what Villa actually are. Even though Emery's made a massive improvements,
Mhm.
they're still
Bro,
Villa.
it was an overachievement. Let's call it for what it is, Prime. Them
Yeah.
finishing top four. No one predicted them to finish top four last season.
Exactly. The same,
No,
and people are going to do with Villa what they did with Newcastle, because Newcastle overachieved for top four, and last season they like underperformed at that top four level. People think that, but in reality, they shouldn't have got top four at that stage. It just
Exactly.
seemed to happen because everyone else was so bad. Villa, yeah, I think they'll need to build again. I think next summer will be a big summer for them. They'll need to go and build again, and hopefully, when they go through their rough patch, Villa fans don't turn on Emery because they have a quality manager. They have a
No,
quality
they
manager.
do, bro.
yeah, I think they'll get behind them because I think that they're so comfortable with what they're seeing as well. Like they've gone through the shit before this. They had Gerrard, Dean Smith, and Dean Smith fair enough, he got them up, but he wasn't good enough to keep them up, and Gerrard was terrible.
Gerrard
Like
almost got them relegated.
yeah, they're living a dream, man. They're living a dream. Like I do agree with you with the whole summer thing because I think there's still like little places in their squad where they're gonna have to rebuild. Well, not even rebuild, just build on what they have, sort of thing. Because they built a good base. I don't think they're gonna be in a situation where many teams are pipping their players either, so they'll be able to keep some of their better players.
Yeah, they
and it's
do
going to
have
be
rich owners, to be
Which is
fair.
massive.
They have rich
Yeah.
owners as well.
Not
So
just
they can.
that, but they've got a big manager. So, like, Duran is linked with Chelsea. We're not going to buy Duran. Realistically, we're going to have to spend. It'll be too cost
You're
too
gonna have to
much.
spend it. Yeah, he will cost too
Yeah.
much. True.
So,
he should sign a
like,
new deal as well.
yeah. So I think with Villa, and also they make smart signings. Ian Matson, no one went for him. Ross
Yep.
Barkley on a free, very very smart signing. That
Mm.
Villagen guy, bro, he's quality.
Yeah,
Morgan
he's really
Rogers, quality.
Yeah, like I wanted Philogene at West Ham, man. Like
Yeah.
like these championship talents. Like people need to understand the championship market. Yeah, do you know the amount of players that in this summer, in the recent summer that just gone, that moved from a championship to another club? Like there were so many players. Like there's so much talent in the lower leagues and like. In not just in the top 5 leagues, people actually need to use their scouts properly, man. Like there's a lot of teams in the there's a lot of players in the championship that you could miss out on. They're better than you think just because they play for like a Sunderland or a Norwich or whatever. They can make that step up. Like Jonathan Rowe from Norwich went to Marseille. Like, there's steps to be made there. Like
Rogers came from Championship, didn't he? As well.
yeah, he came from Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. When he
Like,
played us, he's looking quality, man. He cooked us, man. That guy
Yeah.
run the he's
All
quality.
right.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, man.
He's had a great season.
No, I hear that. And listen, before we do close out, tomorrow we do have a lot Premier League games tomorrow. Obviously, the big one is Liverpool against Chelsea. Prime. Tomorrow you guys play Liverpool.
It's not that big of a game. It's fine. It's not that big. We don't need to talk about it.
But so you're confident about the game, honestly?
Yes, I am confident. I am. I know it's Anfield, but as much as Liverpool have threats that we need to worry about, we also have threats. So I'm not like scared or anything. If we still had Poch, or if we still had like players from the past 2 years, then yes, I would be. But I trust Maresca. I trust the players in the squad. It'll be a very good game. Do we win? No, I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be 1-1, 2-2 type of game. But I just, especially what happened today against Arsenal, I really need a win. I really, really need a win.
I hear it. Now, obviously, tomorrow as well, we're going to have Wolves against City, but I don't think any other people really care about that.
I've watched one game this season.
I don't even know.
I don't even won a game, have they?
No, Wolves
Wolves.
haven't won a game. No, Wolves have not won a game. Gary O'Neill's under
Wow.
pressure. You got to understand, yeah, their last game, they lost 5-3 to Brentford, and their fans were going after their director of football. Like, they were so unhappy because of the lack of investment.
Jeez.
So it's toxic at Wolves right now, and rightly so. And to be fair, Gary O'Neill's doing a bad job as well because
Yeah.
this guy changed the whole formation that when he didn't need to. He was doing well with the three at the back from what he could with the squad. And then throughout their preseason, they went to a four, and they always do this. Wolves when they go to a four, they never have the squad for a four. Like people
Nah.
like Eight Nori, by the way, Eight Nori is not a left back. Like he's not
Yeah,
a
I know he
traditional
is not.
left back. He
No,
gets
he's
caught
not.
out so much in defensively. Like they don't have a back four squad. And this is the thing, Wolves sometimes they create chances, but they don't put them away. They don't put them away.
Yeah.
And they don't have
Basically.
the pace in the back to play high up either. So they don't have the squad to be doing what they're trying to do. That's why they're losing so many games. They're going to be down there this season.
I hear it. Well, listen, we do also have midweek games. You guys are in the Europa League, right? Are you guys in the Europa League this season? Mike's. Or you're
No.
not in Europe this season? Oh yeah, that was last season. But
Don't
obvi-
hey, Max, don't take that. He knew that. He was setting you up for a
I
joke. Don't
did. I swear I did. I swear I did. Bro, I literally made a mistake. I'm not even joking. But listen, listen, we do know one team that's in Europe this season. Josh, you guys are playing Shakhtar. What do you think of that game?
I think, listen, they're fourth in Ukrainian league right now. I'm very surprised about that. Big up my guys for that as well. Appreciate it, bro. But yeah, I'm surprised about that. I was looking into the game. They're fourth in Ukrainian league. But listen, at the end of the day, I expect nothing but 3 points. If we want to finish in the top 8, which we should be aiming for, we cannot be losing any of these games now. You know, we have to win these types of games against Shakhtar. What we'll say, this Champions League, this ain't no Mickey Mouse. You know, anything can happen. I actually remember a few years ago, Shakhtar beat Madrid. I think two seasons ago in the group stages. So they're a side that on their day they can turn up, but at the end of the day, and it is Champions League, so you can't anticipate anyone in Champions League. But you know, we've got a good record when it comes to Emirates home form in Champions League. We showed that last season and this season as well, beating PSG 2-0. So I ain't got no problem with that. But yeah, it's one of those games where we have to win. Yeah, because after Shakhtar, it's San Siro and it's Inter away, and it is going to be peak.
That one is going to be
that peak, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
peak,
So
peak.
you know, and even Sporting away, we saw happen in Europa League a few seasons ago. You know, you got Gyökeres settings. He's firing for them. Almarin, I think, still there. Even like Girona away will be tough. So there's still some tough games in it. I want Arsenal top 8. Yeah, I don't want us playing in 2 extra games against round of 32, playing an extra 2 legs because you never know. Even one of the big boys might drop down, and we could find ourselves not even making it to the last 16 if we get knocked out by whoever, you know, like this, maybe like a Dortmund, like under a team like who doesn't make the top 8. So we need to make sure we get top 8.
I beg.
Yeah,
man. Yeah. You got Prime over here, man, wishing for your downfall, man.
of course.
But
I will win 3-0, man.
Okay, you win 3-0. So obviously you guys have Liverpool after that. Are you confident in the Liverpool game? No Saliba in the game?
Bro. Listen, if Zinchenko's left back, we're finished. If Zinchenko's left back, we're good, bro. I don't even.
All right then. Let's. All right, but Mike's. So listen. Next up for you guys is obviously Manchester United. It's crazy because both of your teams, both teams right now, both teams are in the mud right now. That's crazy, right? But to be fair,
you cannot.
We will. We probably will lose.
That's the thing, right? If you guys sack Lopetegui by tomorrow, I think that you guys would win that game. The problem is Lopetegui is such a fraudulent manager, bro. And this Ten Hag is such a escapable, bro. You know they call him Ten Heisenberg, bro. He is literally Ten Heisenberg. He's Dr. Heisenberg. I swear to God.
He's the escape artist.
I'm telling you, bro. He finds a way every time, right? And you know this West Ham game, he will find a way. I don't know how he's gonna do it, but he will find a way, bro.
Truth is, we usually have a good record against them at home, but my problem is that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
bro.
What did I tell you on this Rivals, yeah? When it comes to West Ham, records don't matter, bruv. It doesn't matter. If we're your bogey team, it doesn't matter. You'll beat us. If against our bogey teams, we'll constantly lose. When it comes to a good record, we'll end that real quick. I know Ten Hag's the king of like making bad records this thing, but so West Ham, I've been a fan for too long to have any hope. Listen, I was negative against Ipswich at home. I'm gonna be negative against Man United at home. I'm gonna be negative. I'm probably more negative than half the managers that have been at my club. Like, but this is the thing. Like with this game, it is meant to be El Sakiko, but Ten Hag's kept his job for another month for after winning against Brentford, and we're just thinking the place out. We're just here because we know we're not going to be in trouble because of how bad the league is. I've got no confidence. If we do beat Man United, it's just delaying the inevitable. I don't want our team to lose, but I know what this team is. So, for me, even without Kudus as well, Jesus Christ, without Kudus, we're so fucking finished. Like, the thing is that it just gives Somerville minutes, which is the only good thing. That's the only good thing coming out.
How long is he out for?
3 games because he got a red card.
Oh yeah, the violent. Yeah.
Yeesh.
Yeah. But yeah,
This
like
week.
we're fucked. Yeah, we're fucked.
But-
Yeah, I don't expect anything.
I mean,
is he
if-
missing
if-
any big games, barring United? What are the other 2 games after?
Forest away,
Ooh.
and I don't remember the other one. I think it's Forest away. Oh god, is it Newcastle away?
What is this?
Forest and Newcastle away. I just realized. Oh shit! I think it might be Forest and Newcastle away, or it's Everton at home. I'm not too sure.
Bro, that is. I mean, Everton. Maybe you guys might figure it because Everton are just leaking
No.
goals. They will find a way.
But West Ham, Everton, yeah, Everton's a bogey team. Everton and Newcastle, bogey team.
No, but you just said records don't matter when it comes to West Ham.
But that's what I mean. Against our bogey teams, we don't do anything against them.
Yeah,
They
the
record
next-
carries on.
yeah,
If we're a
next
bogey team,
month-
but then
Yeah,
if
West Ham at the London Stadium, Forest at their ground, and then you play West Ham at home at the London Stadium, and then you go to Newcastle at
No, hold on. You
Is it
said
Everton?
that Everton, right? You meant Everton
No, West
because
Ham.
you said West Ham.
you said West Ham at home, are we playing
You
ourselves?
said West Ham at home. That's what you said.
Yeah.
That's why.
West Ham at home at the London Stadium. West Ham playing at home.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
who
who
are they
against?
playing? Everton? Are they playing Everton at home at that game?
After Forest.
Yeah,
After
you're playing Everton at the London Stadium, and then
that-
Newcastle is your 4th game at Villa.
yeah,
St. James's.
Long day.
Yeah, but
Long day.
listen. Who say this? Completely with this. You didn't actually tell me what was your prediction of the game tomorrow, Prime. What's your prediction against Liverpool?
Oh, you also didn't talk about Chelsea. Are also in your. We're playing in SCL. So,
Yeah, that's what I was saying because you guys haven't played yet. That's why I actually didn't go into detail.
Hey, don't laugh. Respect RCL.
Okay, all right. Listen. Let's hear it, man. At the end of the day, I had you on Beyond the Pitch, man. We had a long talk about Chelsea. I was just saying, since you guys hadn't played yet, it would have been easy because basically, I'm just talking about the results here today. But you guys haven't played yet. But listen, that's why I'm asking.
Tomorrow will be a draw.
You draw? I thought you said you were going to.
I want us to win. I don't think we will. Realistically, I think it'll be a draw.
Okay, all right. So what's your prediction on the score?
2-2, 1-1.
Ooh. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if they ended 2-2, because I think both attacks are actually like the best thing about both teams is the attacks, and even defensively, you guys have been very good this season compared to last season, right?
Yeah.
And then in the Conference League, obviously you play Panathinaikos. What's your prediction on that game?
Panathinaikos, they are mid-table in the Greek league. They're 8th in They're 8th in a 14-team league, so that's like mid-table.
So what are you saying?
What are you thinking about this?
Second team in Cuckoo, 4-1 Chelsea.
All right, fair. And then after that, and then next week in the Premier League, you have Newcastle at home in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I mean, this Newcastle team is in poor form right now.
I know. Steve keeps telling me that. Newcastle at the bridge as well. Yeah. 3-1 Chelsea. I don't trust the defense yet to predict clean sheets. But 3-1 Chelsea.
Listen, man, this show has actually gone for almost 2 hours, 30 minutes. It's been an amazing debut show. What a show, man.
Brilliant.
Like we just start talking about football. This is the thing, bro. Every time I do these shows, right? Like you saw Beyond the Pitch, me and you, Prime. We just sat here, just me and you alone, right? And we spoke for 2 hours, bro. We were just in the mood to talk about football, bro. Nothing mattered, man. It's the same thing with me. Like when I start talking about football, it's just the same thing. But this has been an amazing first show, like I said, guys. Right? We're gonna have more guests maybe in the next show, guys. This has been an amazing first show. I hope you guys have enjoyed this stream, guys. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe. Make sure you guys subscribe to Mike's and True Guna, guys. You're gonna be seeing them on these shows a lot, guys. All right. Make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe. Turn on notifications and peace, you guys. Take care.